Oh yes, welcome back. Another Saturday, another Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Great to have you back with us in the studio. Wow, what an afternoon. We've got Grade 1 action. It's just a Betfair Fighting Fifth up there at Newcastle. Definitely the feature race of the day, but there happens to be a Ladbroke chase as well. The 3 o'clock, the Old Hennessy, one of the greatest jumps races of the entire season, wherever you go. Will we see a Gold Cup horse, or is it one of those grisly handicaps where the experience will come to the fore? Cannot wait to get going. We start off in the 150 at Newbury. Really interesting handicap. Hurdle's been a couple of races at Newbury and Newcastle so far. Funnily enough to say for this time of year, it's all good out there. The ground looks pretty lively to our eyes, and indeed the times are backing that up as well. Get in touch with us all through the afternoon. We'll be having a great crack and we'll be giving you plenty of shout outs as well. Hashtag RP Live if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe, of course, and do get your comments in for the panellists and on Facebook Live as well. The boys in the studio and the gallery will be checking out all the chats. Best ones coming through. Let's see who can kick off the show. Shall we kick off down the panellists? Well, he won the race in 2011 on Carruthers. It was a debut like no other before on the Friday of Cheltenham. He's back, Mattie Batch.
How are we, Dave? All good?
Absolutely superb. How are you, Batch?
Yeah, brilliant. Great day's racing today. Good day's racing yesterday. Nice to see Paisley Park running well back.
Yeah.
Fiddler on the Roof got beat, but...
It's just a brilliant weekend, isn't it?
Had a bad start to the day, though, Dave.
Go on.
Gone into the train station. Went to get my Racing Post. Bearing in mind I hadn't bought one for 15 years. £3.90? I said there's only one Racing Post there, mate. Oh dear.
That's how it's worth every penny. You can see why. And you need it, of course, absolutely along the way. You won the race in 2011 on Carruthers. That was so we can get a great insight, can't we? You can tell us all about it. Takes some jumping, Old Newbury, doesn't it? That cross fence to 5 out. You said you want to come wide as well, just with your challenge, and there's a way to ride the race. Just
up the straight, you've got the where you're going around the water. So I remember Great Endeavour being stuck on the inside. I jumped middle to outer, so I had a clean run at the winning line. But yes, it's a tough race to win. A certain AP McCoy didn't win it. won everything else, but.
Happy days. That's on the Batch CV. Lovely to have you back, Matty.
Good to be back.
Get your questions in for Matty. We'll get some stories along the way as well. Just look at the time there. Well, we've got around about 15 minutes because Ross Brierley is back. He can wax lyrical about his afternoon expectations ahead. Great to have you back. We did a bit of Cheltenham, didn't we, last weekend?
We did a bit of Cheltenham last weekend.
It was Ascot and Haydock, rather, last weekend.
I'll tell you what.
I'm getting back up.
April already. I can't believe it. Here we are.
We did a bit of Haydock and Ascot last weekend.
Ascot,
some bigger fields. You're going to be doing some commentaries. You're going to be putting some bets on.
Like I said, I was going to joke about cleaning the office, but I've just spilled my lunch on the floor and had to do that already, so I am pretty much jack of all trades. Well, I'm disappointed that you haven't bigged me up with all my big race wins, though, Dave.
Such as?
The three-legged race when I was 10. Three-legged race. Me and my mate.
The race to the bar downstairs. You never usually come up short in, do you?
That's the cheapest shot I've ever heard.
When we're allowed to get down there, which we're hoping will be the case. Great news, isn't it, to have people back on racecourses from next Wednesday?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Unless, of course, you're in certain tiers.
Which I am.
Which
so I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, indeed.
Although it's bizarre. I mean, literally, Catterick, which is 40 minutes up the road from my house, it's fine. But
it's a bit bizarre, isn't it? But it's well we live in. We're just delighted to be getting what we can on. Nap of the day, Ross Brierley, for everyone, quickly.
I really like Botox Haas.
In the Joe
Field was pronouncing that, but yeah, the Gary Moore horse who's not put a foot wrong over hurdles. I think the only time he's been beaten was by All Mankind, when I think they just weren't quite expecting
at Cheltenham
that Skelton horse to keep going and going and going. So I think he'd be absolutely ideally suited by this track today. And like I said, he stays, he jumps, he's got plenty of speed and scope as well.
There's a lot of money for him, hasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a really nice horse at the top of the bedding potentially from last season, but he's also fit and well, so yeah, I think he's got a cracking chance.
And he did beat All Mankind after that as well.
He did.
When they were a bit shrewder about how he was.
He's come out over fences and whizzed up, might even be an Arc horse, would you believe it? Funny old game, is it? Talking about money and getting back on track. Who have we got from Betfair then, all the way from Dublin? He's back in his seat, having had a trip out, would you believe it? There he is, Barry Orr.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we all?
Absolutely buzzing. You must have been buzzing this time last week, Barry. They finally let you out, and they finally let you back onto British shores. You were up for your big day at Haydock.
Yeah, it was my first time at a race meeting since the 12th of March, so It was fantastic to get on course. It really was. It was a good buzz around the place, albeit not the usual sort of sound levels and decibel levels, but there was a real good buzz around, and it was a great result as well. It was fantastic to be there to witness a third win in the race for Darrell Holland and Bristol Demise. So yeah, a lot to be grateful for, Dave. But hopefully we'll be all back on soon. It looks like we've the Betfair Tyndall Creek next Saturday. I think there's indications there's going to be at least 2,000 people there, so that's brilliant to hear.
I bet Darrell Holland loved it, Barry, didn't he?
Darrell Holland around Woodbine, I think.
Darrell Jacob.
I can't believe he had to jock off Alan Monroe as well to win it.
He's done it already, Barry Osgood.
He was windy 10 years ago on the flat. Fair play to you.
He'd have made some hurdle jockey, wouldn't he? I tell you,
jockey.
absolutely. Darrell Holland, would you believe it? At Woodbine, he often comes up on these strange cards when you're betting, when you shouldn't be, of course, late at night. The Woodbines and the fairgrounds and all that sort of thing. He's
Gamble responsibly, Dave.
Well, of course it is, absolutely all the way. Yeah, listen, we've just had Safe Gambling Week as well. You don't have to play in every single race, but we will be giving you insight on the way. So much sport to enjoy. Barry, the markets have been fizzing, haven't they? What is this drift on Epatante all about? The champion hurdle winner, she goes up to the Fighting Fifth. If you were to make a scenario in the middle of the summer when you're plotting out her comeback, the Fighting Fifth, what do you want? Sound surface, a front runner in the race, not so sleepy. She's class edge. Why on earth is she not odds on anymore?
It's a strange one. The sportsbooks put her in at around 6-4 on. I think she's matched at a low on the exchange of 1.60. She matched at a high of 2.30, so nearly 11-8. She steadied a bit at 11-10 now. There has been money for Silver Streak in the race, so that's come in for decent support. But yeah, she's a very backable price. For me, she wasn't backable at 6-4 on, but 11-10 against, I think she's a very backable price indeed.
Yeah, and last time
worth noting as well, Dave, on that Fighting Fifth, there's a free £5 bet on the Betfair Exchange for all new and existing customers. All you have to do is go onto the promo hub to claim that for qualifying customers. So free £5 bet on the Betfair Exchange on the Betfair Fighting Fifth.
Happy days. Get involved. Okay, thanks, Barry. We'll be going to Barry for the market looks. Of course, we've got the 150 coming up in about 9 minutes. Before we do that, just a quick chat about Epatante with the panellists. And then Barry will be doing his trades. We know you like to react to that out there. Plenty of time to get involved. And then we'll be going down and give you our tips as well. Epatante, you said to me as we were coming in, I said she's fit, she wins. She said she's going to be half fit to win.
I believe that, yeah. I think she could be half fit, still win. She's done a nice bit of work
the
other day at Newbury. I just don't think there's nothing in the race that would get near her on her day. She's class.
Ross Brierley, a man that looks at all different angles. Why, if you had to sort of nail your colours on the drift, what would it be?
I mean, the only thing is that she's up against rivals who've got fitness edge, maybe. I mean, if anything, we were saying about the perfect scenario. This morning we had 2 front runners in the race. We've now got 1, so the pace might not be quite as strong as she likes. But the pace also needs to suit Silver Streak. He's a closer as well. Maybe giving So Royal a bit of a better chance because he's probably got a bit of a higher cruising speed. But
yeah,
I guess the worry about maybe Flinter Sacre yesterday, disappointed at short odds as well. Maybe a few of them are needing the run.
I don't know. We'll see. Listen, we're going to find out. It's 2:05, so we'll be going to the 150 at Newbury first. Cracking handicap and then whizzing up to Newcastle. You'll be getting all the real-time analysis, honest opinions here. We can tell it how it is. Real-time reaction as well. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We're going to have some fun this afternoon. Let's kick off then in the 150 at Newbury. A couple of progressive sorts were heading the market last time I looked, Barry Orr. Is it still all about T-Clipper?
Yeah, it is, Dave. It's fair to say. Currently a flat 4.0, which is 3-1 on the Betfair Exchange, 7.8 on the Wild side, 9.4 Champagne Platinum, another JP Horse Rat Hill in there at 10. Small few quid knocking around for that Rat Hill at 10-1. Hang in there as well is an 11-1 chance. You have real wide open, very, very tricky contest to kick off with, I think it's fair to say. But I think I've found an angle into the race. A lot of front runners in here. It's fair to say. You have the likes of Champagne Platinum can go forward. Hang in there can go forward. On the Wild side, will definitely go forward. And Helen Milan is another one that's likely to go forward. But I think the favourite is opposable. He got £7 for that win in Chepstow. The runner-up was giving him £4 that day. Flash of Steel, and I think he could reverse placings with him this time round, albeit on better ground. I'm not sure how good the ground is. I still think there's plenty of moisture in it, so I think the ground's going to be okay for Flash of Steel. I think just at the price, he's one that could definitely reverse form with the favourite. So I think I'm going to lay the favourite, and there's another little play. But Ross, if you just want to get those magic fingers of yours moving, we're going to take 40 quid out of the favourite Ross. So we're going to take 40 quid of the backer stake on T Clipper.
All right, 40 matched, laid at 3.9.
Yeah, and with all these front runners, one other thing I want to do here, I want to hang in there. He's currently trading at 12.0. So we're going to have 20 quid on him. And then I'm going to look to lay him back in running. So if you go to the lay side, yeah, correct. And if you tick all the way down to around the 2.50 mark, which is 6-4. I think this horse is going to trade short and running. I think they're going to revert to front running tactics with him. You look to take 40 quid out of that and click keep bet, which is the important aspect here. Yes. So pre-race, once you click keep bet, the bet will go in play during the race, and you have a likelihood of getting matched. Or if you don't want to go in play, all bets are taken down as the race goes off. So that's an important feature on Betfair Exchange, is to click keep bet there for us.
Thank you, Barry. Happy days. We're Rosters. That's all done and dusted.
Yep, all on, all sorted. Yeah,
trading done. And as a reminder for you out there, listen, if you don't know much about the exchange, it's the best place actually to learn, and the best man to tell you this afternoon, Barry, or in the chair. Whether you're a novice or an absolute pro, you're going to pick something new up. So, okay, we've got Barry's angle on the race. Just a chance to bring in the guys at My Racing, actually. MyRacing.com. Check out their website, partners of the Racing Post. And then Nat goes in this race. It's T Clipper. On I was going to say a real roll. He did get beaten, of course, when he signed off last season, Ross, didn't he? But the comeback win, it was there to see, wasn't it? And obviously, Barry thinks he might be a bit vulnerable. Which way are you going?
I mean, I went through this race this morning. I thought it was an absolute cracker. I struggled to rule many of them out. I agree with Barry. There's going to be a strong pace. T Clipper was impressive. Flash to Steel was only in behind. Didn't jump anywhere near as well. So I think there might be improvement there. I know you like on the wild side. If that horse stays, I mean, he's got plenty of size and scope to improve. But there was one horse that stood out at a big price for me, and that was Jackamar for Milton Harris with Richard Johnson. This horse whipped around at the start of Fontwell a few starts ago in a really warm handicap, and then ran on to finish third. Had no right to finish that close. Then went to Aintree next time out. Real strong traveller, won cosily by a length in a good race. And then he went to Carlisle last time, heavy ground. It was only a week later. They were carrying the penalty. Again, travelled like a dream, but just didn't get home. So I think that run came a bit too soon. He's been given a month off. He's an unexposed 5-year-old. The Richard Johnson booking's really interesting as well. So I think he's a huge price. So 4 places. I thought Jackamar might well run a big race here. I think he's underrated by the market because he's not from particularly sexy connections.
I had to look down. These colours that Milton Harris uses, they would be his main patronage, I think, wouldn't they? Do have some big wins, don't they, Milton Harris?
Stimulating song, won at Cheltenham in these days.
Good shout. Ex-flat horses he gets, and he gets them jumping, doesn't he? Yeah. Matty, before you give us your selection, this sort of race, if you're in the jockey room and you're going out, it's a big day. Okay, we don't have the crowds there, but as you're on, terrestrial television, all the eyes are watching. You're saying, lads, who's going to lead? Is that a conversation you have as you're going out? When does that happen amongst the jockeys? Does it happen?
Yeah, it does happen. You'd look at the paper, and as you say, Barry there said, there's plenty of front runners.
Worth every penny, you see.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I'd rather wait till the races and ask the lads.
Which probably happened a lot in your career.
Yeah, but as you say, like, on the wild side, if I was on that, Charlie Hammond, it's first time in handicap. So he'd probably say, Dr. Newland probably said to him, look, Charlie, we don't really have to make it. We're going up against handicappers here the first time.
Completely different ball
Completely
game,
different.
Isn't it?
Maybe just get a lead for a little bit. And I know it won 2 novices at Hexham, but it jumped okay. It was not. It's not an out-and-out handicapper as yet. It jumped okay. A couple of novice mistakes, not too bad. I do like Champagne Platinum.
Oh, man, this horse
interested me. Back down over hurdles.
Yeah.
I mean, this is finished third in a Silly Isles at Sandown. His last run was in the King Muir.
Nicky Henderson on a hat-trick in the race as well.
Back over hurdles. And I mean, the top horse, Christopher Wood, he's mixed it up against Penton Hills and Fakadoo de Airy. That one bad. That
so
was
there's a lot of back.
that could have gone horribly wrong.
Rolled off the top.
Yes, it could have done. Happy days. See, I'll tell you, worth every penny. You've been studying that on the way up, haven't you? Normally you'd be on the blag batch.
I've been on the train on that. You Break it down.
Lucky you're not calling. Maybe we'll get you to do that. That would
He's
be a
not calling
crack,
it
wouldn't
first during the summer.
So you came down on Champagne Platinum, a horse that I think everyone thought was readying himself for one day last year. Was it the Kim Muir where they backed him?
King Muir,
on,
yeah,
wasn't it?
finished ninth. I
It
think.
was a remarkably short price in the end. I was suggesting on previews that I was doing that he might. I think I got the wrong race in the end actually, but he couldn't get into the plate or whatever. He just didn't really get home. But I wondered if this was a prep for something. He's definitely on a mark he can win off, I think.
Yeah, he's off a winnable mark, and Henderson normally comes to this meeting and this is his time of year, he starts getting going, they start rolling.
They had a surprisingly blank day yesterday, didn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he won this year with Champ and then the Cashel Man last year but they had, was it Downtown Getaway? They smashed off the boards in this race last year and was bitterly disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean,
wow.
that's the problem with this race is you've got two Henderson, JP seasonal debutants in it, and everyone will be scratching their head trying to work out what's going on. So it's Champagne Platinum. It's going to go either way, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Barry, okay, they're coming out onto the track for the first race here on RP Live on a Saturday. What sort of price are we talking about? T Clipper.
Out of the JP horses, Rat Hill has been the one they want to be with 8.8 now, so that's the money horse in the race. The Clipper is, or T Clipper is 3.40 now, so nearly 5-2. And a small few quid for Champagne Platinum as well at 9.8. Hang in there has come in for good support as well as 9.6. Obviously people are looking how these horses are lining up, and it looks like Hang in there might just try to steal off in front.
Thank you, Barry. Good luck wherever you're playing out there. I'll tell you what, it's all kicking off today. Great Saturday of sport, isn't it? It's been an early kick-off as well. We've got Mattie Batchelor in the studio, despite the fact he's a Brighton season ticket holder. Should be watching Brighton home. You missed a penalty. You missed a 1-on-1. Do you know what the score is?
Got to be 0-0.
It's 1-0 Liverpool. Batch. The boys in the studio, they're cruel creatures at the best of the times. That's just come up on my... Listen, forget about that. It's all about the racing now, Batch. Seagull supporter. We'll have a lot of banter on the way. And they're off and running. Let's go to Ross Brierley for the first.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to throw this one to me. But off and racing them for the opener. 2 miles, 4.5 furlongs to go. And there are a few front runners, as we said, in there on the wild side. And to prove his stamina is up there in the early stages with Howling Milan. Hanging there, just pulling a little bit in behind. T Clipper's got a nice sit as well. And they're not going a mad gallop. A little bit wide is Rath Hill, who's in the starred cap. And then the white cap at JP's is Champagne Platinum. Christopher Wood on the inside of Mort de Nuit. And we've got Lord Lamington's in there as well as they jump the first, and everything over it apart from maybe Champagne Platinum probably just remember how to jump hurdles, I think. Dead last we've got Jacamar with Flash the Steel, and then the only one we haven't mentioned is Colonial Dreams, who's on the inside with 2 behind. So it doesn't look like an insane gallop.
No, they've definitely steadied it down, Batch, haven't they? You can tell with Harry Skelton on the back and Flash to Steel and Richard Johnson, they were expecting, I think, what Barry described beforehand as being a real pace burn-up. Hasn't happened.
No, not at all. They've jumped off, and then you saw the ones in behind the leaders, they were just pulling a little bit, so that shows you they're not going that quick.
Yeah. Where would you want to be, Batch, at the moment?
When there's slow pace, you'd want to be nearly up there or just in the second rank, really.
So, of those up there, T Clipper got a lovely sit in the 4th.
Got a lovely little position there, yep.
Let's see if the market's reacted with Barry Orr.
Yeah, the market has 2.88 T Clipper now with that position. And outside of that, Rat Hill is still kind of coming in for a little bit of support at 8.4. But yeah, it's all about the jolly.
We'll see. Okay, it's a real galloping track here. One of the best jumps races we've got, of course, coming up at 3 o'clock, the Old Hennessy, the Ladbrokes Chase, but these handicap hurdles, they take some winning. They usually go a right old lick, don't they, Batch? It hasn't been the case here. If you're Harry Skelton at the moment, or on Jacamar, Richard Johnson, what are you thinking to yourself?
You've got a lot of ground to make up. At some stage, turning in, they're going to sprint. So you've got to be there or thereabouts because you're just going to get caught. What
sort of rhythm are you giving a horse like that? You don't want to be going from 1st to 5th gear in one move, do you?
No, because you're using them up to get there, and you need that in the finish. So it's all about trying to... Now you sort of want to be creeping, getting there closely, so you've got not a lot of ground to make up.
We're on the far side then, the 150, the opening race here on RP Live. Back to Ross Brierley, it looks like on the wild side, might just be taking it up.
Yeah, again, he's been racing over 2 miles, so he's probably, again, Charlie Hammer's going to have to make sure he restrains him enough to get home over this extra trip. But yeah, he's in front with last year's 4th Howling Milan. Then hang in there, Barry's selection on the wide outside. He's prominent and he's been a bit fresh, so we might get that Imrim late match. T Clipper's had a perfect tow through this for Johnny Burker in behind, just tucked in the van on the inside of Mwur de Nuit, making a bit of move now. Champagne Platinum pulling himself through, but we've got and then a little bit of a break. Yeah, Jacomar and Colonial Dreams. Again, this is a speed. It's a surprisingly speed-favouring track at times, isn't it, Newbury? So it is going to have to.
This is going to suit on the wild side as well.
Yeah, I think so. It will be all about stamina for him.
Someone needs to make a move and test his stamina. Really.
Nicky Henderson's what we might call a third string. They're turning in. Then they're bunching up a little bit on the wild side. We'll see exactly what he's made of. Ross Brierley coming up to the third last.
Yeah, I think Hang In There's going to take it up shortly as well. With on the wild side, on the inside, we've got Howlin' Milan in behind Lord Lamington's wide. Christopher Wood, who also likes this track and ran a good race over this trip last time out. Then T Clipper and Mwur de Nuit, the two JP horses, Rathill and Champagne Platinum. Then Flash the Steel, Jacomar just coming off the bridle under Richard Johnson as they take this through a few gears. And right out last, as you said, Colonial Dreams is catching the eyes. They turn into the home straight then, and Hang In There takes over. Flash the Steel travelling very well in behind. Mwur de Nuit still on the bridle as well. Howlin' Milan has dropped out. T Clipper coming through. Good jump by Hang In There, who takes it up for the inform Emma Lavelle. T Clipper's coming through. Travelling strongly in behind is Champagne Platinum and Colonial Dreams.
Flash the Steel here, boys, isn't it?
Flash the Steel also catching the eye. That T Clipper form could well be turned around.
Here comes Platinum.
Champagne Platinum down the near side as well. Don't forget course specialist Christopher Wood. He's not out of it either, but Hang In There still doing just
there's a
that.
mistake from on the wild side of the novice.
Is in front, then Champagne Platinum catching the eye, but he tends to at this.
Nico wins.
Looks like Champagne Platinum
Nico
is absolutely
wins.
Swinging away here. And
Tell you
what,
this
on the
might be a
far
Mattie
side.
Batch specialist
Flash
between
the
him and
Steel down
Barry
the near
Orr.
side.
Over they go,
Flash
over
the
the
Steel
last.
jumps
Flash
it
the
in
Steel
front.
goes
Flash the
clear.
Steel
Oh,
takes it up.
Champagne Platinum, he's
Running
been
on from the
out.
back is Jacomar, but it's Flash the Steel from Mwur de Nuit. Champagne Platinum, Jacomar running on maybe to grab that fourth
Barry
place.
Orr's
I'm hoping
done
he
this.
does. Flash the Steel. Mwur de Nuit won't go down without a fight, but Flash the Steel. He fell last week at Haydock. He comes to Newbury and he gets the spoils for the Skelton Yard. Flash the Steel and Mwur de Nuit, Champagne Platinum and Jacomar absolutely skins my fourth place bet. Running on from the back.
Oh, but, good starts all round.
Shout.
What a race that was. Barry Orr, he's back.
I don't know whether I am. Well, we laid the favourite, obviously. I'm just trying to look to see what price. Obviously, the runner-up hit a low at 2.08. Hang In There hit a low of 3. We just got a little bit greedy. Probably put into lay it at 2.50.
Well,
so 6-4 gets smashed at 2-1.
I'm pretty sure on the back of what the panellists said, a few people would have had a few quid on Flash the Steel. You were pretty. I'll tell you what. From last to first, Mattie Batch. Let's go to you on this. They weren't going that quick. He just had to be. He had to be patient in his mind, didn't he? He cruised through, didn't he? Had made errors. Had fallen last time out, of course, at Chepstow. He's just showed another side to his game again, Harry Skelton.
Yeah, and it's one of those races it had to be ridden like that. So Harry's had to bite the bullet and say, look, the only way we're going to win this race is ride it like this. He's rode it like this, and it's paid off. I think one you can take out is Platinum because it's travelled really well. And just pulling up there, he just looked like he probably would come on for that race. I think he's one to take out.
You know what I don't like about him, this horse. I've known that I've known that I got that plot last year. I just got it right, and I was surprised to see him travel quite that well. Yeah. He's obviously one of these horses that they know's got a big engine. He had to think about it there for me. I think
harsh.
You think that's harsh?
I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Being his first run of the season.
Yeah. I would say first run of the season, the way, and he travelled over exuberantly. I'd say he possibly blew
the pace didn't help him, just running with the choke out a little bit.
He's already got the cheek pieces on. It's too late.
He just comes back again. We're
give him the benefit of the doubt this time, Dave.
Yeah.
We'll benefit the doubt. Be forgiving.
Once he's done it 3 or 4 times more this season, then
we can start calling him all the names.
That's fair enough. I tell you what, lots of horses ran well there, but there's your final 3 then. Flash the Steel goes in at 12-1. Team Skelton taking out the first race here on RP Live. And Mwur de Nuit, Paul Nicholls, could he be set for a big day? 20 runners he's had in the Ladbroke Chase since 2011 when Mattie Batch won, and only 5 have placed. Champagne Platinum. Am I being a bit harsh? Did he have a think about it? Or is that a lovely prep for going back over fences? Let us know how you're getting on out there. Send your social media clips in. We'll give you a shout. We're off and running. We've got to get up to the Tyne and Newcastle because their big race of the year. It is the Betfair Fighting Fifth. Cannot wait for this. Barry Orr, what price is she? The champion hurdle winner, Epatante.
Yeah, what price do you think is a backable price for her? Obviously, she was 6-4 on earlier in the week. She was batched on that in the exchange as well. She's 1.90 now, so that has been money for her. She has been matched at 2.30. She's 188 now, so money coming all the time. Over £2 million already matched in this race, Dave, phenomenally. So Royal, the elite winner, is in there at 4.2, 7.2 Silver Streak, 16 Ribble Valley. That's a big drifter in the race, and that's one that I fancy to run really well here. Especially if the favourite underperforms Brian Hughes' men. So I'm going to ask Magic Fingers there to get moving on this race. 2 places here, Ross. We're gonna go 2 places for
can I just say to you, can I just remind you, Barry, there is a 3-place market, and you did just get a bit greedy in the last. Are you sure you want the 2?
Oh, no question, the great
sticking
man.
to my original plan.
All right, fair enough.
Sticking to my original plan. Don't try to do that to me now. So here, Ribble Valley at 4.6. We're gonna have 40 quid on that at 4.6. I just think he beat Nicholson first time up this season, gave him £7. It's a Nicholson. I know for a fact. Ollie Murphy thinks there's a big race in him this year. He's rated 134, so he needs to improve a stone or thereabouts to get involved here, Ribble Valley. But he's a horse with very few miles on the clock, and I think he's one that's open to improvement. He'd like a really strong pace to aim at. 2 places here. We're going to have 40 quid on to win 145, and I see Magic Fingers has executed the order magnificently. We're on, and I'm happy to sit back and listen to you experts tell me how this is not going to win.
Well, the third from that race at Carlisle came out. The Skelton's horse, Molly Oscar's Wishes, I think, at Hereford in the week. Absolutely hosed up on its handicap debut. So there's a lot of form. Ribble Valley is one of these horses. Typical Richard-style training, Nicky Richard-style training. Extremely patient. This is the acid test for him. He's a 7-year-old, so he's rising 8. Matty, he's not going to be going chasing anytime soon, is he? They must think this is a hurdler. Where do we sit with Ribble Valley?
It's interesting to come back and say it was a good win, and it was after a breathing operation as well. So, as you say, you would have thought he'd been going over fences. They've kept him over hurdles. And listen, Nicky Richards knows the time of day. He's not going to run him in a fighting fifth.
Yeah.
Unless, just for the sake of a day.
If you're not going to go fencing, where do you go? I guess it's now or never, isn't it? He's had that lovely comeback win. The time he got beaten by Master Debonair at Ascot, they thought they might have had an excuse. He was very keen that day. He'll like the pace as well. I agree. He's the potential, unexposed, fly in the ointment for Epatante.
I mean, there's still no reason he can't go chasing.
I don't know, Matty. I think I don't know. Maybe you'll be with me. You know horses. I tend to know racing more than horses. And if you've got a horse that you think, and you associate Richards, don't you, with these Monet's Garden, for example, of course, in these colours, the horse that's waiting to go over fences because his dad, his great father trained. It was all about the fences. I think if you're doing it as a 6-year-old. Maybe he's had a few problems. I don't know, but he did have a layoff.
Well, I can say we haven't seen that much of him really for a horse with his ability, have we? So
he's a lovely, fascinating runner.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way he won at Wetherby in particular, I thought was very impressive. So it's one of many kind of the top of the northern tree who often come up for these races.
I think a lot of people will be wanting to be with this horse because he's won a lot of the time, and he's got a big following. And they'll be thinking, what a lovely price this is. Of course, the 3 horses ahead of him in the betting are all proven in the Champion Idol division. Let's get some socials then. Finally coming through onto the screen. Who's opening up? Mally Draycott, good to have you on, Mally. Flash to steal my nap of the day in our daily naps league. Get in, aye. First race at Newbury. Lovely price, lovely ride, wasn't it? Craig Ruddock, I'm also hearing, got it right as well. Oh, well done, Craig Ruddock. Nice pick, Craig Ruddock. Okay, you're seeing each other in the chat, of course, on Facebook Live. Love it. Craig Ruddock, he is coming in. Big pat on the back, no big call here. Epatante wins. I think Epatante wins. But Barry said, what price is backable? I thought she'd go off about 2's on, if I'm honest with you. I think that's how... I think this has got excellent claims of following up in the Champion Hurdle. Yeah. So...
I mean, she absolutely has. I mean, she was wildly impressive. I guess, like I said, the worry for me now suddenly is how this race is going to unfold. Because if she's as fresh as Champagne Platinum was, like I said, we saw Flint to Sacre yesterday. We've had a
novice hurdler,
couple of them, and just need those first runs. We've got one front runner now, not so sleepy, who's going to get fairly easy time of it out. He might not be the worst back to lay it. 30. You
can level that up though, can't you? Say the likes of Shishkin have come out from the stable and been absolutely foot perfect.
Yeah, of course. I'm just trying to balance it out. Why you don't want to back an odds-on shot necessarily, but it is an interesting race. Ribble Valley is interesting. Rated 147, Ribble Valley.
Yeah.
This time last year, before Epatante really made her name, she was rated 137. So the fact that he's rated £10 higher and we still haven't seen him properly tested, I think is interesting.
So with 3 places, are you looking at Silver Streak?
I'm looking at Silver Streak, yeah.
This is a typical Ross Brierley play.
We've just So Royale, no?
What about So?
I'm glad you pronounced that right. I've had a few people in the media calling it SCO Royal, which that's unforgivable. I think,
it's quite a northern pronunciation, isn't it? So it depends if you scone, scone, sco, sir.
Oh, it's a scone, isn't it?
It's a scone.
Is it a scone? I don't know.
We're getting distracted, but he's got a rich. And my worry for him is that every time he comes into a race like this, you think, oh, he was wildly impressive in that Grade 2 last time. Put him into a Grade 1, and he comes up short. Silver Streak, though, we know how he's going to be ridden.
Beaten in this race last year.
Yeah, but he's a good ground horse. He's got an incredible record on good ground.
Beat Verdana Blue at Kempton easily.
Yeah. These are his conditions. My only worry is that he wins every time first time out and then doesn't necessarily improve for that first run.
Yeah.
But the Williams team got beat a short head in the first race. They've sent a couple up to Newcastle this afternoon. I think he's going to be ridden to perfection here. And like I said, conditions are absolutely ideal for him. So Silver Streak, 3 plays. I think he's 1 to 2, which is, we're not getting rich, but like you said, straight bat it every now and then.
Mattie Batch, I'll come to you. She won the Jerry Fielden on this day. That's our next race at Newbury coming up. They've got a mare in that as well, Marie's Rock. We'll get to that. It's all, I don't know, the stars are aligned. Just in the corner of my eye, I was seeing back, some highlights of the champion early in March. She did not miss, but she was a bit guessy, I suppose. But the way she came back on the bridle up the hill, this flat track though, we seen her at Kempton, when she took a bit. I don't know what's going on. How are they going to ride it? They're going to latch onto Not So Sleepy, and remembering Bouverdare's defeat in the race last year, where Cornerstone Lad, unfortunately a non-runner in his defence this time around, went all the way clear, and you're like, well, he's going to get there. He's going to get there, isn't he? And of course, we know that Bouver had that injury afterwards. He almost got there. If you're Aidan Coleman, huge ride for Aidan Coleman, this, isn't it?
He is, yeah, but he's up to the task. He's rode in big races before. He's a very cool customer. Not So Sleepy's going to make it. Aidan, it looks like he's just lining up just behind So Royale, and
they are off.
He's just going to keep it simple.
Keeping it simple then, Not So Sleepy up front. I'll take the call for this if you don't mind, Ross Brierley. Not So Sleepy goes off then. Interestingly, Silver Streak, Evan Williams took out the Paddy Power Gold Cup, didn't he, with Cool Cody. Big Saturday's back in the... Whoa, my goodness gracious me. Well, the front runner's out. Not So Sleepy jinks at the first, and off he falls. Unbelievable scenes. Paddy Brennan, of all people, falling off at the first.
Taking Silver Streak out.
Oh no, Silver Streak's just gone out as well.
Taking
This
Silver
is
Streak
absolute
out.
scenes here in the Fighting Fifth. Two got Barry Orr. What's going on?
Yeah.
The loose horse took him out.
Yeah.
Epitant's 2's on now. 5 to 2 So Royal and 14 Ribble Valley. You can have the rest.
Unbelievable scenes. This game is amazing, isn't it? Our spot, Ross Brierley, what are we witnessing?
I mean, the only person happy with this is Barry's 2-place Ribble Valley bet now. That's 2 of his big
He's back. The great man is back. He's firing him in.
Suddenly, So Royale's now the only pace angle in the race. Void de Rev's in there. Epitant was a bit keen. And Ribble Valley's held up last. I'm still...
Never questioned the great man, Barry Orr. You did before, and he knew what he was doing. He sees it in the stars, doesn't he? Okay, so Royal is on the far side. He's setting an okay pace, no more than that. How has the mare settled, Mattie Batch?
She's just running with the choke out a little bit, but again, I don't think they're going that quick. Aidan's just holding on to her, just getting her in a rhythm. She's just fighting for her head a little bit, but she'll be fine.
Ribble Valley taking a bit of a keen hold as well out the back for Brian Hughes. With Brian Hughes got one of his silky hands, doesn't he? And if one's pulling, it's probably a little bit more damage is being done than the jockey often shows. I tell you what, Barry, Daryl Jacob, could he just be in the ideal place here on So Royale?
It looks like it. He's setting steady enough fractions. The mare seems to be pulling. You can't really have Void de Rev, and Ribble Valley seems to be pulling a bit as well. Yeah, Daryl's definitely in the right place, Mr. Holland.
I'm waiting to put up the Holland.
I don't think he thinks that with Not So Sleepy in front of him.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, so Not So Sleepy's basically causing carnage all over scenes on the exchange. Ribble Valley was a little bit slow there as we got 5 out. We are basically So Royale. He's won the Welsh champion. He's won the elite hurdle. This would be the hat trick.
I mean, the interesting thing for So Royale is they used to ride him out in the back. He used to travel like a dream, and he wouldn't necessarily go by horses. Now he doesn't have to do that, so he's going to have that cruising speed. He's certainly going to trade lower than he is now, I think, as they turn into the home straight. So it could actually work out really well here for Daryl Jacob.
It would be hugely deserving for Alan King's charge, that's right, but Epatante has him in her sights. Ribble Valley, Mattie Batch, just got a little bit of latching on to do.
Yeah, just had a little bit of a grab at the last one. And again there, just reached for it, but plenty of scope. Just having a little niggle now, Brian.
Yeah, he is. Again, Brian Hughes, when he sees
he's
sort of...
not. He's
when
travelling as sweet.
He's
I'll
having
tell
a
you
little
what,
niggle,
Barry.
Look at him.
I'll tell you what, Barry Holland.
I don't know what you're looking at, lad.
Well, okay, they are Constantine. The fact that Voix de Rev, albeit a talented horse in his day for Paul Nicholls, second run for Ian Jardine. Oh, okay, what's happened now then, Barry? Oh, he's slightly ahead of us. Okay, they're Constantining up. It's not so sleepy again. He's just running out. He's just, okay, what do we got coming up? This is where it all caused carnage last time. He's fine, Barry, all dramatic.
Not so sleepy again.
Not so sleepy. He's up. Okay, Voix de Rev, first to
Hellfire,
crack.
do you wanna win,
Epatante
Epatante?
absolutely cruising at this point. Barry Orr, 2 to jump. What does the market say?
Oh no, Ribble Valley
5-2
still.
on Epatante, 5-2. So Royal. It's a match between them according to the market.
Who's going to find? It's a
Okay,
question of
well,
who's going to
out.
find.
So Royal absolutely
Oh,
flies
no.
it. Aidan
Eight
Coleman's
on
looking
Epatante,
happy. He's
away
having a
she
little
goes.
look around.
How's Ribble
Where's
travelling,
everything?
Barry?
Ribble Valley's coming. This isn't going to be good enough, I don't think. So Royal absolutely
Here we
flies it.
go.
Here comes Epatante. What's she
Oi,
got under the
oi.
bonnet? Here she
Hey.
comes. The
Oh,
champion
look
of
at
Vogue.
this.
Oh,
Look at
it's on the
this.
bridle. This is happy days. Aidan Coleman gets his grade 1.
One for the photographer.
Absolutely superb
that.
stuff. What was that pre-race drift all about? I do not know. So Royale runs his heart out, having to the reluctant leader up front. Dramatic scenes. 11:08 on, she returns Barry. Those people that went in at odds against, absolutely in clover.
SP at 1.78. The runner-up hit a low of even money in running. But once she tackled him coming towards the last, it was all over really. She traded 8s on and all the way down to 101 from there.
Wow, unbelievable scenes. It was dramatic stuff, wasn't it? Goodness gracious me, did you keep the faith? Does she go and win the champion? Let's get some anti-post prices from Barry Orr shortly. Ross Brierley, you're shaking your head and the hand is on the chin.
I didn't quite recover from this early jink. Not so sleepy. Just jinked at the first hurdle. Paddy Brennan has hit the deck, and then suddenly Silver Streak's taken out by Not So Sleepy, who basically did that throughout.
He's a tearaway at home, isn't he? Not So Sleepy.
Yeah.
We know that when he really came good over hurdles last season. You remember last year at Ascot is when he was allowed to tear off, and Johnny Burke could get in the breather. Of course, you've got to feel for Silver Streak, haven't you?
Tom O'Brien literally looked up as if to say, "What the hell? What the hell
Yeah.
can I do about it?"
He couldn't go anywhere.
If you're Tom O'Brien at the moment, what is obviously this is a family show, Matty. But,
Yeah, he's not going to be happy. And the thing with is Paddy as well. Sometimes you can go in, horses are jink, and you'll stay on. But because he's such a free-going horse, you're trying to hold him together. So you're concentrating on trying to hold him.
Yeah.
And he's just jinked the last.
and knowing Paddy as I do, and everyone else that follows Paddy, he's one of the strongest riders out there, I would say. And you don't see him unseat a lot, do you?
No, not at all. It's just one of those things. He's trying to hold the horse together. The horse he's done it right last minute as well, which is he's caught Paddy off guard. You wouldn't expect a horse to do that. He's had plenty of runs. He shouldn't be doing that. Really.
It was a remarkably dramatic race, but what a wonderful finish. Let's concentrate on the two that did get home. So Royale, we know that when he comes up against the champion hurdler Ross Brierley, he's probably going to come up short. He's come back fantastically this season, hasn't he?
I mean, the connections must be kind of banging their head against the brick wall, because every time, travelled all over Altior, over fences as well, and then he thought, oh crikey, this actually might
In the
be
champion
his
chase,
day.
yeah.
But he just keeps finding those Henderson hot pots, one or two too good. But yeah, at one point when you turn into the home straight, you're looking in behind, you're thinking Epatante just jumped a little bit big.
She did. I'm going to get to that in a bit. How
couple
did
of
you think
times.
Epatante jumped? There was just a kink in the champion hurdle or two, wasn't she? I don't think she's absolutely most fluent.
But she's
at
better.
the last, she was deadly.
But she's better off. The stronger the pace, the
Yes.
better she is, and she gets into that rhythm. So there was just a couple from home, where you thought Royale might, if she doesn't find, he's going to burn her off. But I mean, she's gone through 2 gears maybe at max, hasn't she? There, so it's a perfect return for her.
When you say she jumps a little bit big, which is a fair comment, it's like because she was travelling so well. It's like a quicker run race. Like the last there, she's quickened up, and she's proper hurdled the last. So throughout the race, when she's gone in and popped, because she's travelling so well, she sort of over-exaggerates a little bit and sort of comes back and makes a nice shape instead of having to reach for it. So you're always going to get that when the pace is a little bit slower, but when you quicken up, you saw she was flat, she was good.
Do you feel like that Aidan was a bit sort of at that second? Look, the main thing here is not make a mistake. We just getting over it, and then we'll cruise through the gears.
That's it. You get from A to B. The race, he's come up the straight, 2 out. The race is won in my eyes. He knows that. You get from A to B. It's exactly what everyone knocked Jamie Moore at Ascot on Goshen.
Yeah.
He's 20 lengths clear.
Yeah.
You've got to do A to B, get done. That's it. Move on.
Absolutely fascinating stuff. We could digress a lot on this race. We're chilling out a little bit more now on RB Live. Listen, what did you make of it? What did you make of Epatante? Does she go now through to Kempton and then go to Champion? We'll go to Barry in a minute after a couple of socials on the screen. Who's coming back up? Let's have a look. Here we go. I tell you, they've stitched me right up here, haven't they? Dugro Zugro. Is that right? The guys in the studio always think I'm ridiculous and show my maturity when I do this. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to. Okay. Epatante was our early Christmas present. 2.1. Wow. Whatever your name is, you got it right.
Was it JP forcing her out on the exchanges, maybe?
Oh, who knows? Listen, Daniel Mann, that was beautiful. It was beautiful, wasn't it? When Aidan Coleman, when you're on a horse, right, and you know, okay, it's a short price favourite, but when you see a jockey having to niggle on anything, and then come back, and one for the photography, he said.
Oh, he loved that.
The picture was ruined a bit by Not So Sleepy, though,
Well,
wasn't
that's
it?
it, yeah. He's photobombed.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Not to be outdone. Not So Sleepy had a say, of course. It was 2-0 to Liverpool, Matty, but it's been ruled out again, so it should be 3-0, really, shouldn't it? So
3-1.
Barry, I want to come to you. First of all, what are the anti-post odds for the champion hurdler now? And who's going to get the ride come Cheltenham time?
But she's been slashed from 3-1. She was 3-1 favourite post race. She's into 2-1 favourite now for the champion hurl. Just a word that Betfair Sportsbook are refunding all bets on Not So Sleepy, and Silver Streak has a free bet. So that's good for the sportsbook punters there, following their misfortune. But she's a clear 2-1 favourite for the champion hurl now. It was a very impressive comeback from her.
Is Mark Walsh going to get on this, Barry? Is that going to be Mark's? What's the?
I wouldn't.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because Nico, you've got Aidan, Aidan I think we can say is number 2 to JP, can't you? I think so. But Mark Walsh really got the gig, didn't he, when Barry retired?
Yeah, but he didn't. Obviously, he was their number 1 choice jockey in Ireland, and he rode a lot of the top choices this year at the Cheltenham Festival. But it'd be hard to take Aidan Coleman off her now, I would imagine. He'll probably ride her at Christmas in Kempton, and I'd say it'd be hard to take him off her after that. So
it's a fascinating.
He's quite loyal to his jockeys in that respect.
I don't think Ollie Murphy's got anything that's going to run in the championship, because obviously he's retained jockey now. So.
Yes, of course, Aidan Coleman took up the Ollie Murphy job, Betfair ambassador, of course. That is an interesting one, because if you're Nico de Boinville, you're mad keen to get on that, aren't you, being Henderson's number 1?
You would be,
obviously
but...
to JP.
Yeah, but you also know that how JP works. Aidan rode a lot from last year.
Are we saying it's Aidan's ride then?
I think Aidan will keep the ride, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
Great stuff. Listen, that's the beauty of this game, isn't it? Check out your members section for Aidan's comments straight after the race. You'll be able to get that, of course. Our eagle-eyed reporters will be out there tapping away now, getting it up to you shortly on the website. Okay, amazing. The Betfair Fighting Fifth is done. We've got to get back to Newbury because it's the Jerry Fielden, won by Epatante last year, and Nicky Henderson has a mare in there, and I know that Barry Orr has a very strong opinion on Marie's Rock.
Yes, Ross, we're going to take her on. I thought that listed mare's race that she won in Taunton, it didn't work out that great a race. It took the runner-up 8 goes to win it off 130. So I think we're going to take her on. She's currently 2.66, so I'm happy to lay her at 13. We'll take 50 quid at a backer stake there, and we'll be a price taker. I don't want to make the price here because I think there is a chance she could start drifting. There's a couple of horses in here could do her. They've both beaten the Pink, and you have Botox has for Gary Moore, and also Time White for Paul Nichols, although he's only a 4-year-old and he doesn't get any of the allowances, but he was quite impressive in Chepstow. And her first handicap, it's her first run back after a win job. Lads, I asked this question earlier and I never got a reply. Maybe someone on the panel will be able to tell me. Anyone know the statistic for horses win first time back after a wind up? Would it be a high propensity of it to happen, or lower? Or would it be more on their second run back? Just interested to know.
I thought it was more second, didn't you?
Second's got a better profit and loss.
It has. Of course, it was last year, wasn't it, when they decided to publish this? Well, it throws up in arms because saying that the variances between just mucking around with the epiglottis, for example, or just tinkering with the windium, saying, or some horses need a prop up, clean out, take them off. So a W and a 1 next to their name, it's an angle that does interest punters. But from a riding perspective, Matty, and from a jockey's perspective, a lot of people are saying, I'm not disappointed if a horse comes back and runs below par. First up off a wind up, it tends to give them a bit more confidence that they can breathe again, and second time up they can really take off.
That's it. It's exactly what you just said there. They've gone through their career. When push comes to shove, say, come on, let's go, they can't do it. So after that operation, they go to the races, and in their head they still think, hold on a minute, we can't do this. And then they thought, oh, well, we can. And then the second time, it's a confidence thing in the horse as well. They realise they can breathe again. And that's why I think the statistics are high for second time winners.
So W2 is the answer to that question, I think.
I don't know
statistically.
If you like sprain your ankle or something, if I've done a running injury and then the first time out, you are a bit tentative. You're like, can I run on that? That's the way
Footballer with a knee
same,
injury, for example.
It's just like, and then you go, okay, I feel good, I'm back to my best. And like I said, for a horse to, I mean, it must be, you imagine a horrible experience where you're struggling for breath.
There was, before they were published, it was a buzz of a racecourse, Barry, wasn't it? Like, for example, was it Kim Bailey's, before Imperial, his Cheltenham Festival winner in the Charbel colours in the handicap? Tom Segal put it up in prize was. It was in the plate, wasn't it? I can't remember what it was. It began with an S. I can't remember. But anyway, the buzz of the racecourse, this has had a wind up. It could not breathe in its races. It was a massive gamble, and it went and won it. It's something that Paul Nicholls used to do, Barry, didn't you? And if you were close to the yard like you were, you catch wind of it, and the market would react all the way. Now it's published. It's a slightly different ball game.
Yeah, I think Paul was always quite forward in talking about wind operations on his Betfair blog. Some trainers were a little bit more coy and would play their cards closer to their chest, but invariably when one showed significant improvement, often the excuse given to the stewards would be a recent wind operation had helped the improvement. And obviously it's a tool now that the punters have that we don't need to depend on the forwardness of trainers to tell us that they're obliged under their license to divulge that information. I think it's an only good thing for racing,
Is it Dana, by the way?
Dana. I said it began with S. What am I about?
Yeah.
You know what? I thought it was Dana, but the S.
Yeah, the S. You're about,
you were waiting in the wings.
You're about 15 letters off in the alphabet.
I'll tell you what, it would probably been in here somewhere, Matty, if you'd
probably,
have read it properly. Okay, all right, great stuff. So, good question, Barry, absolutely. Okay, let's go down the panel. I like Marie's Rock, simply because I know she was entered in the Fighting Fifth. I've been told a little bit out the yard recently that she's going extremely well. Of course, they were very disappointed that they couldn't get her, if you remember, to that mare's novice. She had a slight problem. That race, Barry, that you're alluding to at Taunton, they took out a lot of hurdles that day. I think the Midland part really, really liked it. It was a prize thing for me. I expected her to be shorter. There's been a few market moves in. I thought she became a backable price. So it's Marie's Rock for me, Ross Brierley.
I mean, she's obviously a huge danger. I mean, the thing I can't quite forget is that the move at Haydock where they thought, oh, there's 2 or 3 that might win this, and boom, she just went. She used a really nice turn of foot to go. She's clearly got a change in gears, and she could be significantly better than this lot. But I do think Gary Moore and Joshua Moore have got a cracking chance here with Botox Ha or Botox Haz, however you want to pronounce it. The only time this horse has been beaten, as we mentioned earlier on, was when it was beaten by All Mankind. But we didn't really know what All Mankind was completely about at that time.
Yeah.
He'd run like that at Warwick, hadn't he? And we thought, we can't do that all the time. Surely he's going to stop.
Yeah.
And he didn't. And Joshua Moore was held up sort of 5th or 6th throughout that race. He had to go through the gears to get on the heels and just kept going and going. I think they thought, well, we're not going to give this one any rope next time we see it, which worked out perfectly.
He stank in the market on Cheltenham on his return as well, suggesting that they thought he might come on for this. I thought he would be a handicap like Betfair or Coral Cup, something like that. I thought he would have been more project. Well, I mean, he's exposed now, isn't he?
But the fact that he's 2 from 3 at Cheltenham, it could have been 3 from 3 if he'd known what he was doing. Yeah. They're going to have if he wins this, we're into mid-150s, so we're looking at some really nice prizes. And All Mankind, I mean, he ran to an RPR of 150 plus, didn't he, when we went over fences the other day? So I just think he's been up against better horses. The last thing I'll say as well, there's not a lot of pace here. And this horse does like to be on the speed. So I wonder if Joshua Moore, if this horse kicks on down the home straight, I think it could be quite hard to catch.
Okay, Mattie Batch. Hang on, I'm just hearing in my ear something dramatic happening. In the 91st minute, there was a penalty to Brighton. It's gross. He steps up. It's 1-1 Brighton. Unbelievable. Unbelievable scenes.
I need proof.
I'll tell you it's 1-1. The boys in the gallery are telling me it's 1-1.
Someone tell me in my ear it's 1-1.
Has there ever been a VAR penalty before? I'm not sure.
Oh, come on, the seagull.
Unbelievable scenes. I'll tell you what, I get Bruce Millington, the Palace supporter. I've got a seagull next to me. Come on. Someone out there's got to support Watford in the racing world, haven't they? Surely. Unbelievable scenes. Well, listen, we dragged you in here. You weren't able to watch it. Happy days 1-1. We're against Liverpool, the champions.
Yeah, we take that.
Got a bit of a buzz about
it. Yes,
and your big race is coming up
He
as
just
well.
needs to tip a winner here now.
I don't really care now. We just nicked a point.
He's 0 from 7 so far. But we have got the big race coming up. And just to remind you, we've got a bit of time in between the Jerry Fielding and the Ladbroke Trophy as well. So you can ask Matty what you like. What was it like riding the winner? How did he do it? What's the horse that is on his mind? What might be some negatives, some horses? We have a good chat. Get your social media comments in. We're cooking with gas here now. Ross Brierley, call home the Jerry Fielding, please. They're just ambling round at the start.
They are indeed. What did you go for, by the way, Matty? What did you fancy in this?
I do like Botox has, say 2-3 wins from 4 runs in England. Again, Maria's Rock, she's Taunton, they didn't go quick. She was very keen.
Yeah.
And I thought, there's a better race. They might go quick. But as you say, there's not a lot of pace in it. So it might sort of not play into her hands. And also the Mulholland horse.
Milkwood.
He finished 4th in the Welsh champion hurdle.
So
Royal, yeah.
He pulled like the proverbial and still finished 4th. So he must have some sort of engine.
That was the worry for it. I thought he would have a chance, but again, the pace angle put me off a little bit. But you're right, he could have been. He was entered in the Greatwood, wasn't he?
Yes.
Tom Segal's put him up. I know Paul Keeley likes him out there as well. Paul Keeley likes him for the Greatwood before the ground went against him. They pulled him out there, so I'm sure Keels, if you're watching, you're out there going to shout home Milkwood. My issue with him was that I think people took Buzz a bit too literally that day. Buzz, who he just finished off, he absolutely hosed up at Ascot last time. He looks like he's going for that big Betfair handicap next month, Barry, at Ascot as well. He's a proper horse. He would have been way ahead of him if not walked through the last.
He's got quite the cruising speed, Milkwood, though. So it'll be, I think he'll certainly trade a lot
Strong
shorter.
travel. I just wonder if that's as good as he is. Good luck wherever you're playing. Will it be the first time wind up on Marie's Rock? Will Barry Orr get it right? She's one to take on. Will Botox has for Matty and Ross take it off? I think there looks like in danger of a full start here, Ross.
Again, we're just trying to line up. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but Botox has Floressa and Sebastopol. They jump off soundly and safely, and we're away for the Jerry Fielding then. Let's have a look at that pace, and it is, again, quite pedestrian. Marie's Rock, very keen indeed. She's throwing her head around.
Well, this is interesting, because look who's taken up. It's Floressa, isn't it? But it's stablemate of
Marie's Rock, but if you want to set a strong pace for your stablemate, you're going about it the wrong way at the moment, because Marie's Rock just struggling to settle, and she's just drifted out on the exchange. But Floressa, Botox has and Sebastopol. Time White also very keen in behind with Marie's Rock. Then on the inside is the outsider Miller's Bank, Pisgah Pike, Milkwood. Again, this isn't necessarily going to suit him, and the Pinken is in last. That said, we did say they weren't going a mad gallop in the last race, and it set it up for the closers. So, but this does look a more pedestrian gallop. That's for sure.
Also, Sebastopol, to me, that's always looked like he needs a bit further. So you might take the bull by the horns and say, right, come on, we need to inject a bit of pace in here.
Perfect for Botox Haas.
Yes.
Well, he's got the nice sit at the moment. They're 3 up there dueling. She's a little bit keener than I'd like, Marie's Rock. I have to say she's a little bit warm as well. Barry, has the market reacted around about halfway?
Yeah, she was a drifter before the race went in play. She was out to 5-2. She's a 3-1 chance now, Marie's Rock. Botox has 4-1. There was a big gamble on Big Ash Pike. He's a 12-1 chance now, but pre-race gamble on him from 28 down to 12. That's worth flagging. But I suppose at the moment the favourite a little bit uneasy within running backers.
Interesting scenes. Time White got a nice sit in midfield as well. Ross Brierley, 5 huddles to go.
Yeah, she made a mistake there.
We're a little bit behind on this one, aren't we? But Floressa, Sebastopol and Botox has in behind. We've got Marie's Rock, then Time White and Miller's Bank. But Marie's Rock, a poor jump there, just nodded on landing, and things not going well for the favourite so far. See if that turn of foot can get her out of trouble. But 3 of them now maybe just starting to go through the gears and take each other on a little bit here. But Floressa, Botox Haas and Sebastopol still in the lead. Pisgah Pike also a little bit fresh behind. A couple of not fantastic jumps, in particular the Pinken, who maybe just dragged his hind legs through that one a little bit. But Floressa, who's got good course form here at the track, and is obviously, as we said, a Henderson horse as well, still leads from Botox Haas as they start to bunch up a little bit. On the inside, Marie's Rock, Sebastopol outer, the 4-year-old Time White, Pisgah Pike, Milkwood, Miller's Bank, and then the Pinken. So they have bunched together a little bit here.
They have. Matty, call it.
she's still pulling really hard. He's just trying to get her back, just trying to save a little bit towards the end. I do like the way Robbie Dunn's travelling on the Mulholland horse. He's settled a lot better today and travelling really nicely.
Time White's going well, isn't he? In the Stuart colours for Harry Cobden.
Yeah, that's travelling well.
Very keen early on as well, though, with Marie's Rock, which is against his Woody. We're going to find out, aren't we, in the home
Josh
straight?
is just having a little niggle on.
It's from 2 out, Matty, isn't it, when we find out what these hard pullers are going. Anyway, they're into the home straight. Botox has to shake of the race. Floresta still going well. Ross Brierley.
Yeah, Floresta are still out in front as they come to 3 from home. And jumps it perfectly well. Another bad jump by Marie's Rock. Time White still travelling, but it's Floresta, the stablemate, who's travelling like a dream out in front. Botox has off the bridle. Time White, Milkwood catching the eye as he always does. The Pinkin also trying to make a bit of ground as well. But are the closers going to get to the front runner here? Floresta 2 to go.
Oh,
Marie's Rock almost jigs out and quite a few bad jumps. Time White, Milkwood, Time. But Floresta's still out in front. The Pinkin is catching the eye, running on from the back. Floresta out in front. Sebastopol. Botox has
It's a funny old game, this, guys.
Floresta still galloping out in front, though. Floresta has been out from the outset. We said it wasn't much of a gallop.
Milkwood the
running
closer.
on. The Pinkin is the big danger as well. The grey horse maybe just not running as straight as you would like. Milkwood's going to be very unlucky here if he doesn't win. Up towards the line here it is. Floresta in front. The Pinkin and Milkwood. Floresta just tying up a little bit in front, but she's had a lovely run through, and Floresta makes all to beat the Pinkin, Milkwood, and Botox has back in fourth in another incredibly dramatic race.
Thank you, Ross Brierley. Wasn't it just Barry? Oh, more carnage down the home straight. The second string, I think we can say that, by some way, goes and makes all up front, avoids any drama.
Yeah, it was a mad race in running, really, when you look at it. At the Time White hit a low of 2 to 1 in running. Milkwood hit a low at 2.80, which is 15 to 8. Pinkin hit a low at 2.36, which is just 11 to 8. A crazy race in running. And Floresta was up in the vanguard throughout and stayed out of all the hassle. She was matching a high at 20. Betfair SP, her Betfair SP then at the finish was 13.8.
Wow, okay. Oh, every race we've had so far, high drama. Are you surviving it out there? Goodness gracious me. Good to say all the horses up. And Time White, I think he would have had a big say, wouldn't it? Marie's Rock, we'll get to her in a minute. She did so much wrong, didn't she? Nearly been taken out of that second last as well. The fact she was still in with a chance shows the engine is still there. Unbelievable scenes, isn't it? Probably the stablemate went out to ensure a decent pace, and she's lasted home. Very useful horse in her own right. Apologies if you're listening on your headphones. We know we've got a lot of headphones users out there, whether you're watching on your phone, your iPad, or you're streaming us. I guess the mic's peaked there, I think, with some... We went, hi! And I've just done it again.
See, apologies to the people wearing headphones. If you missed it, here's what it sounded like.
They probably can't hear anything now anyway, you know. We're going to have to sign language. Do you know what? I once took part in a world record sign. That's what they call it, a sign. I sat on a stage. It was Wycombe Swan Theatre, and there was 1,000 of us, and we all sort of crammed in, and then we went all around down fun, and we signed to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's a true story. It's a true story. So I should know how to sign, but I'm afraid I've pretty much forgotten it all. A rainbow.
Well, you're going to have to learn after a few of our viewers now.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I might have to. My memory is trying to go back to the sign, but I'm somewhere. I think unless someone's gone and beaten it, I don't know. But we were in the. Norris McWhirter wasn't there. I don't think he was still on the planet. But it was a great moment. This is what you get.
I'm not sure you're still on the planet.
Planet Dave.
No, sometimes you've had a long life, haven't you? You know, Planet Dave.
Long night.
You've had a long life, haven't you? And some things come into your head, and I remember doing that. Now it was for a worthy cause, of which one I can't remember. But
can you remember any of it? Could you give us a rendition?
We did have to sing and sign at the same time, actually. So I used to tread the boards a little bit. Funnily enough, you might be surprised to hear. But anyway, if you want us to sign, maybe we can help you out there. Apologies if your headphones blew up, but we have had high drama in the studio, haven't we? Unbelievable things. We're dictated to by the racing here. We're dictated to by your social media comments. Keep them coming in. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. That's all important.
The most ridiculous thing is that in these kind of races, normally you expect big fields, strong gallops, and something, and making mistakes and fallers and kind of chaos when it's end-to-end stuff. We've had 2 dawdles in hurdles, and we've had 2 of the most dramatic races we've seen in months. So,
could it be all straightforward in the Ladbroke Trophy coming up at 3:00, our next race?
Listen, there's a lot.
Or is it peaking? Is it reaching a peak?
There's a lot of runners. I don't think there's going to be. It'd be a true run race. It always is. I don't think in all the years I've been watching it, lucky enough to ride in a couple, which is always a true run race.
What other rides have you had in it, Matty?
King Harold.
Oh, of course.
Running it once. Carruthers running. I think Carruthers running it before as well. So yeah, it's always a true run race.
Is it a chassis race with the jockeys?
Yeah, there's a lot, especially at the start, because everyone wants to get in their ideal position. And I remember Carruthers, he was always a little bit nappy at the start, so you needed to be up there. And Sarah always used to be down at the start, trying to lead him in, and all the starters was always shouting at her because she didn't care. She was just getting in the middle of everyone, and like she'd have been run over by the horses. She's like, normally you have to bring him in at the back or wide,
Sure.
and it was lucky to get off where we did sometimes.
Yeah, and if you had to have a perfect horse for the race, what do you want? Obviously, we know we want a special jumper, but
Going to be about 2 stone in hand, I think.
with something that's not shown its hand yet.
Quite well in. You've got
what sort of tactics ideally would you like to deploy if you could ride any sort of race, whether you were a Ruby Walsh or whether you were a bit more of a McCoy, if you like?
Again, it all depends on what sort of horse you're riding. I mean, Carruthers, his main aim was to get out, make the running, use his jumping as his greatest attribute.
When did you know you were going to win on Carruthers?
I still can't believe I did.
Because from 2 out, did I win? Because from 2 out to the line, we had a chat with Kim Bailey not that long ago, and 2 for Gold, who runs in this. He could have gone to rehearsal chase our last race at Newcastle, coming up after this actually, 3:15. He could have gone for that over 3 miles. This is more of a stamina test. And Kim said, I know he's going to tank to 2 out, so expect that to happen, guys. This might be an in-running bet, I don't know. But your players out there, he's going to go shorter, I think, but I'm not so sure what he'll be like from 2 out to the line. So it's a proper stamina race, isn't it?
It is stamina, and you've got to have a bit of speed early doors if you want to hold a position. You've got to jump well. Because they come at you thick and fast.
Is the cross fence the most important fence on the track?
Second time round, first time round, it's not too bad because you're going at a nice pace.
This is 5 out.
Yeah, you're going to a nice pace, so you can meet it short, you can meet it long, spot on, perfect. If you're coming round there the last time and you're near the front, you really want to meet it on a nice stride, because if you go in a little bit deep and just lose a little bit of ground, especially if you're on the inside, the horses on the outside, if they jump it well, they can take your ground and come in.
It's one of the greatest sights in horse racing, isn't it? That cross fence, which is basically on the home turn, isn't it, almost? Is that when you start to get exciting if you fly that?
Yeah, you fly that, you turn in, got 4 fences in the straight. It's still a long way from home.
Yeah.
And when you've been in front that long, you always think the inevitable is going to happen, that they're going to come past you. But when you're going down 3 out, 2 out.
It's a long old running as well, and the elbow, and you see, we do see some drive.
You got headed as well, didn't you?
I got headed by Planet of Sound, Richard Johnson.
Yes.
And I went again 2 out, but always in the back of the mind, because I knew Great Endeavour was ridden to stay the trip.
Yeah.
And there was no one better on than Timmy Murphy. So I thought, there's only one horse that's going to come out here. If he stays, he's going to play his cards late, his hand late. And I thought, that's going to be my only danger, because I went again after I jumped 2 out.
I've always wondered in those kind of, like, if do you have any idea how far clear you are at that point, or are you just in the zone?
I didn't. I jumped 2 out, as I say. I got Planet Sound. I went again, and I thought to myself, because he just knuckled it. He was so gutsy, Carruthers. Going down to the last, I thought, honestly, now this is going to take a real good one to come and get me, because I'm not stopping. And that's it. I only thought Great Endeavour was my danger.
People are loving listening to this. We've got a question for you, Matty, coming up on the screen, similar to what Ross was asking, actually, I believe. Stephen Hughes, good to have you back on, Stephen. What's the lucky 15 this week, Stephen? A question for Matty. Which is the hardest fence to jump at Newbury? I always think it's the last ditch 3 out that can really change a race. Would that be, is Stephen spot on there, or?
I get probably 3 out in any sort of race and any sort of race course, because the race is just coming in to its conclusion there, and I was lucky I winged it.
You do see a lot of drama there, Stephen, you're right. You do see a bit of drama.
You can go it. I mean, in a handicap chase like the Hennessy, they've been there, they've done it, they know the time of day, so you can sort of get away with it.
Often at Newbury, you can see a jockey, if you've got 2 lengths to make up going into the last, are you thinking, right, I want to get over this and then ask, or are you asking for an absolute flyer and land running?
Do you know what? It can be, if you're going down to the last and you're clear, sometimes it can be the worst. Although this is going to sound silly, although you're sort of 5-6 lengths clear, you're coming down to the last, the race is won. But you overthink it.
Yeah.
You can overthink it sometimes, unless you're on something like a Carruthers.
And is that when a communication problem can happen?
That's it. That's when a communication problem can happen. But if you're on something like Carruthers, because I had that many rides on him, I will trust him 100%. I knew if I saw one and asked him, he would come. If I sat, he'd go in, he'd sort himself out. But then on the other hand, if you're coming down to the last, there's 2 or 3 of you upsides, you don't get time to think about it. You're coming down, you just say, right, I'm going for this, because you just want to get that jump. So you have less time to think about it.
And it's perhaps the jockeys that haven't got that confidence in their mounts that maybe just slightly come up short. Isn't that absolutely fascinating?
That's it, yeah. When you know the horse and you know what he can do and you know what he can give you, the confidence is so sky high.
Yeah. Listen, jump racing and jockeys, it's so important, isn't it? What
psychology as well. That's the whole thing. You spend your whole time looking at, if you're a punter, looking at form, studying this, studying that, watching videos back. But the psychology of both horse and jockey that you just can't possibly predict.
Just before we go back and get another market update, how did you celebrate the race?
I was a teetotal back then, so I had a nice bottle of orange Lucozade and a curry back at the family home. It was quite a poignant day going back, because 7 years earlier I'd lost my mum on the Hennessy day.
Wow.
So to go and win a Hennessy on that day was absolutely fantastic. And there was a little bit of sort of politics before, because that was his second run of that season. He'd run in a handicap chase first time out 2 weeks earlier, maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier, and Noel Feely had rode it, because the season before he'd had a bad season. The horse just didn't look right. He wasn't himself. He looked awful when he didn't run any sort of race. And of course, the same old thing. Oh, we want to change. Listen, the owners pay the money. That's their prerogative, and that was their choice. He went and finished second to Galaxy Rock, I think, something like that, of John Joe's. Come the Hennessy, Noel Feely got offered the ride. He rode 1834 for Paul Nicholls. Not going to turn down a ride of Paul Nicholls. Sarah rang me up on the Monday, I think it was, and asked for my advice who would be suitable to ride the horse. She gave me a list, and I can't repeat what I said. I half lost it on the phone, and I just said, look, I don't think I've done anything wrong on the horse. I said, I think I deserve...
Did you talk yourself back into the saddle then?
I put my sort of views across. I said, I know this horse better. I said, I'm not... Them lists you've gave me, I said, they're more than capable of riding horses. I'm not saying they're not capable. I said, but I know this horse inside out. I know how he likes to be ridden. I said, if I'm not the best man for the job, I said, there's something wrong here. And she said, yeah, I know. It's because there was a big syndicate. And she said, oh, okay, I'll get back to you. And I think on the Wednesday she rang me back, and I said, oh, you ride it? You're going to ride? I said, right, brilliant. Oh, it's going to be a bit of pressure. I said, well, I don't think so. I said, I'm just going to ride him normally. I don't.
Not a guy that feels much pressure, mate.
Not really. I knew the horse. I didn't personally. I didn't think he was wrong the season before. Before that, I don't think our statistics. We won out the first 4 and a good few races. We won Grade 2 hurdles and chases, and so I thought I deserved my chance on him. And she said, yeah, you ride him. Listen, I think there was a couple of people in the syndicate that didn't want me to ride him, and I do believe that they even wanted to take him out on the Friday night before, because I was still riding him. And Sarah said, no, we're going to run him. And as I say, the rest is history. And I sort of went out there. I had nothing to lose. We wanted to make the run-in. We was going a good clip, and we jumped off, and I just lost a bit of... I got sort of dropped back down to 4th or 5th. And all I could think was, do you know what? If I don't get this back up to the front, they're going to be going, oh, we shouldn't have done this.
So there was a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, so down the back, I just thought, right, okay. I rousted him up there, which was probably a brain-dead thing to do. But I just thought, if I'm in front, they're going to be happy.
Yeah.
But it probably run me the race.
So, Mattie, you're known to telling us stories to have us absolutely in stitches. That was an emotional one for you. It was the pinnacle of your career riding-wise at that point. I'll tell you what, you're lucky Nicky de Boinville wasn't around, aren't you?
I think he was a mister then. I was quite lucky.
Who, of course, got him off Coney Green, went and won a Gold Cup. But it was...
But to tell that, the week before, which sort of half got me back onto Carruthers, I think Coney Gree won a bumper at Utoxeter.
Is that right?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, great days. Wasn't
Yes.
It? So listen, 2011 wasn't that long ago, was it? So that's the kind of horse you need in the race. Is there a Carruthers out there today? Okay, we've got plenty of time actually. We've still got another 20 minutes until the big race. Let's just have another check. Who's going to go off favourite, Barry? Is it going to be Vindication?
Yeah, it looks like it, although there's plenty of momentum with Kildesat for at the moment for Nico de Boinville. He's 9.6. He has been as big as 11 just a couple of minutes ago. Cloth Tap is another one that's steady enough at around the 12 mark. And Secret Investor is steady enough at around the 91 mark in the exchange. But Vindication heads the market at the moment. Black Ops in there at 13. 2 for Gold, 14. Magic Fingers, if you want to get moving here, I fancy 2 for Gold.
Oh, you're missing.
I think there's very few front runners in this.
Still a nickname.
I think there's very.
Sorry, Barry. I'm sorry. I'm being distracted in the studio.
We're talking about Ross's wife.
She's not yet.
You just take care of this business, Ross. Now
I am. I'm trying.
Get rid of you and get Mr. Millington back in. So just pay attention now.
Hey, we've been a good team so far, Barry. We've been a good team.
So I think that I think 2 for Gold is one of the horses that really going to want to go forward here. La Bagaroy, to a lesser extent, the Hollow Ginge, maybe, and I Right likes to race prominent. But 2 for Gold's a horse that I really, really fell in love with last year. I think he gives us all every time he goes to the racetrack. He's a horse that I always like to have on side. He did nothing wrong last year between Carlisle and the win in Warwick as well, and Kelso. He just, whatever happened in Ascot behind Copperhead, I'm willing to forgive him that. And then his first run back this season behind Huntsman up in Wetherby, I thought was a really good effort, trying to give him £7. So I know he's been turned up, or he's been Vindication is the number one hope for the Kim Bailey yard, and David Bassett chose to ride him. But Kieran Getting's very capable jockey. And I think 2 for Gold is going to get out in front here. And as we've seen in a couple of the other races today on this good ground, well, especially the last race, I think he could give us a really good run for our money. And at his price, he's currently at 14-1. He's 14 on the exchange. Yeah, I think we're going to have 25 on him to win, Ross, please. And then we're going to go to the place market, which it's 4 places is the standard place terms here on the Betfair Exchange. And we're going to have 25 quid on him with the 4 places as well. So 2 for Gold to get off in front and set decent fractions and hopefully last home.
Interesting. So it will be that. Will stamina come into play? I have to agree with Barry. He's a horse that I love as well. I thought he was tailor-made for probably something like this, maybe a national later on. He's that sort of horse. If I had a shortlist, he'd definitely be in there for me. A Vindication, as Barry alluded to, the first string, if you like, the Big Hope, chased home Sear Name in the Charlie Hall. If the handicap had a chance again, he'd actually have him off a pound lower, Ross Brierley, for this. First time cheek pieces for Vindication. Did you see the schooling that they did around Newbury when we saw Epatante travelling all over Altior? Obviously, Epatante's come out and done as well. He had to jump a fence around there. Spoke to Kim Bailey about this. He goes, all the good horses have a quirk. But this was always going to be the target, wasn't it?
All the good horses do have a quirk, but there might be a horse in here who's just as good without a quirk who beats him, which is tends to be what seems to happen to Vindication.
Why don't we like Vindication in this, basically, is what I'm saying.
It's not that I don't like him, it's just I like others more.
Better treated.
I just don't. I think he's got every chance, but I don't think he's exactly.
He was only warming up,
well,
wasn't he, at Wetherby? They crawled.
Yeah.
Sear Name could well go and win a King George.
It turned into a sprint, didn't it? Yeah, this is going to be a very different kind of test for him.
And that schooling they done the other day is with one other horse. They're just cantering round.
Yeah.
He's one of those horses that when he gets to the races, he comes alive. And listen, he's got 11 stone 11. Now, Kim Bailey said the other day, if he's a Gold Cup horse, he's got to win with that weight. If you look at the horses that have won with that weight, you're talking Denman, Nathan River, Bobsworth.
Yeah.
These are
genuine Grade 1.
Genuine Grade 1 Gold Cup winners. Yeah. And Kim Bailey said if he's a Gold Cup horse, he needs to win that off this weight.
Well, I mean, if you're sat at home thinking he's a Gold Cup horse, so 15-2 or 7-1 is an incredible price, isn't it? But am I imagining things, or is this the best renewal we've seen in years?
It's certainly a
strength in depth.
It's certainly absolutely.
Yeah.
It's definitely a 7-1 the field race, isn't it? It looks like Vindication might win the race over Kildesart to be favourite, but they're vying it out. Secret Investors coming in for money as well. Paul Nicholls, as I said, 0 from 20 since his last winner in the race. He tends to have a Gold Cup horse that wins it. He hasn't had that sort of calibre for a little while. They either go to the Betfair Chase or they go other targets, at Ascot maybe, or something like that. Who is the Ross Brierley play?
I've played 2. I agree with Barry with 2 for Gold. I thought he was given a really nice ride last time out. It was over an adequate trip, and I got the feeling they just thought, right, we're just going to blast off. We're going to blow off the cobwebs. If anything gets past us, then fine. But we know we will stay. Got beat by a horse with a bit more of a turn of foot in the shape of Huntsman's Son. But that race looks strong. Happy Diva might well have won at Cheltenham if not for coming down. And Joke Dancer won a nice race at Wetherby earlier on in the week. So that form is absolutely bomb-proof. I agree with Barry. I think when Barry said the forgiving at Ascot, pretty testing ground that day. I know it said soft at Warwick when it won, but I mean, in terms of soft on, they were both soft, but there's a big difference between those two grounds. So I think left-handed, prominent ride over 3 mile plus on good ground is perfect for 2 for Gold. If you fancy 2 for Gold, Copperhead obviously comes into it as well.
Oh, Copperhead!
You can forgive his last 2 runs, but I'm going to go for the other Tizard horse in Mr. Malarkey, who was beaten in this race last year, but I think they'll be a bit cleverer with him. But he is a good ground horse. He's got a record of first, second on these conditions. And again, he's going to be ridden prominently. They popped headgear on him. And again, you've got 2 7-year-olds who are potentially peaking with that run under the belt. So I'm going to go for those 2.
Would it be, has Vindication never won left-handed?
He hasn't won left-handed, I don't. He proved himself at Cheltenham, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he's never won left-handed. That's just a statistic, but...
His best RPRs are both left-handed. So and the problem is you've got a Gold Cup horse. You've not got many right-handed options, have you, really, unless you want to go to
it was a tick he needed going into the Ultimate, wasn't it? Of course, he finished behind the Conditional, who looks like a whopping price in this. Yeah. 8 of the last 10 winners have had a run. He hasn't. He's coming back. So.
Second last year. Bridgewater I've read a couple of things this week. He sort of half hinted that he'd probably come on for the run. And then after today reading Racing Post, I thought for £3.90 I've got to read it. He said he's been absolutely flying at home this week and good old order. I do like the Harriet Graham horse, I
thought
it was a good run
Vindication
in the Charlie Hall.
Yeah.
Step up in trip and be, the last Scottish winner was in 1979.
Wow.
How old are you, Dave? 25?
I'm not worth as much as the Racing Post, if that's the sort of nugget you're bringing out, Mattie Batchelor. You didn't have that when you came on a major Cheltenham debut. There you go.
I was nervous.
So I was 3 when that happened, believe it or not. Yes.
So was I.
I quite like I Write as well. We're the same age, are we, Batchelor?
We are, yeah.
Blimey, there you go.
Who's the oldest? What month, Dave?
Oh, I was in June. Who's the senior?
Oh, me, by a month.
Ah, there we go, absolutely. Maggie Thatcher and the Queen famously said that to each other. We're somewhere near that calibre, aren't we, Batch?
I feel fresh-faced and youthful compared to you. I was feeling old coming down this morning.
What vintage is Ross Brierley? Magic Fingers we're now calling you.
Thank you. I'm 36 next week.
Goodness gracious me.
He must have had hard
we
paper.
won't even go
he had
to
hard
Barry
paper around, didn't he?
Yeah, certainly.
He's got more grey hairs than us.
I had 2, Matty.
£3.90, let's hope he's on commission. Okay, great stuff. As we're digressing, we've got around about 10 minutes now to the big handicap. We're seeing 2 for Gold. He looks full of himself, actually. 2 for Gold. Let's go back to Barry Orr before we get Mattie's pick and my pick as well. Is Vindication going to go off Fav?
Yeah, it's a toss-up really between him and Secret Investor now. Kildesat's out to 10.9, Vindication 9.4, Secret Investor. So momentum probably with Secret Investor now into 9.2 as I talk. Black Ops steady at 12, Cloth Cap 12.5. 2 for Gold, relatively easy to back at 14.5. Same for Copperhead and Potterman. But it looks a wide open contest. I don't agree. I didn't think it was a vintage renewal of the race. There was no real standout horse in it for me. I thought they were a pretty moderate bunch. I couldn't see any real Gold Cup lurkers in here, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I think that's what makes it competitive, though, Barry, isn't it?
It depends how you view it, I think, doesn't it? Is it a race for the ages or is it a great absorbing handicap?
It was more that the last 2 years, 2 years ago we had size in Tennessee and that completely cut up, and then last year the Durasha County. It wasn't that
I think
just
the race is back a bit this year.
We had a few years where they were quite lean years.
You could argue that Black Op is in there. We've got a lot of classy horses. We should say our jockey changed, of course. Harry Cobden took a fall, didn't he, on Time White. He's not been past fit to ride Secret Investor. So Sean Bowen, riding like a man possessed at the minute, Sean Bowen, he gets on Secret Investor. I would think that is a more than able deputy. And Bryony Frost now gets on Danny Whizbang. I know a couple of judges that quite like Danny Whizbang to go well. Of course, won the Grade 2 Novice Chase on this card. Was it last year? It was indeed. He's got a big one in it, I think.
Well, that's another thing to mention, isn't it? Course form. We've just seen Floressa, who had a great course form, who's won. Secret Investor ran an absolute blinder behind Native River, only receiving £3.
He's had problems, Secret Investor. I know quite a bit about him, and when he's right, he's spot on. But a lot of people sort of tar him with certain brushes physically. A lot of the time, he's not been right when he's been getting beaten. They're doing the parade at the minute. We've got some social selections in on the screen coming up. Okay, Cy Tyson says 2 for gold, weighing in with Barry and Ross indeed. Frizzy Red says Copperhead. What on earth happened in that West Yorkshire hurdle? Kildesart for Viper. For me, good luck, everyone. I'm on Kildesart. Spoke to Ben Pauling yesterday. I've been backing him for a little while. I think he's an absolute rocket for this race. Stamina all the way. Mark Smith, good to have you on, Mark. A race for a few darts. Yep, Kildesart, aye. Secret Investor and Beware the Bear. Nicky Henderson, not really talked about there. He's got some course form. He could go well for a long way. Mattie Batchelor's going to win the Ladbroke Trophy.
I like Harriet Graham's, and I do think Potter's Man had run a good race each way.
He's interesting, Potter Man. He's on that. He's a 7-year-old. He's on that rating that you quite like. He's trained by Alan King, and he doesn't do a lot wrong, does he?
He don't do a lot wrong. He finished second in the Badger Beer the other day at Wincanton, which probably a track wouldn't suit. Step up and trip. It's going to suit him, help him travel a little bit. He was off the bridle, hell of a long way out in Wincanton, and still ran on to finish second. I think he'd run a big race at a big price.
Every year we have a horse like this. I mean, Elegant Escape's the first one that springs to mind. That doesn't necessarily look like winning the race, but comes off the bit and just keeps going and going.
It's got a nice weight as well, 10-6. Yeah. It's
just as others start to wane on the stamina front, things might be running on. A word for Black Op. As I previously mentioned, Tom George and Johnny Burke. Does he jump well enough?
Not for me. I don't think he does. In a Hennessy, as I was talking earlier, you need to jump. He was a smart novice. I mean, he doesn't jump good enough for me. I just think he makes too many little mistakes.
If he gets round, he's definitely got the talent to be there.
He's got the engine to do it.
Second in the Corto Start on Kempton on Boxing Day.
Is there a possibility just about Black Op that he makes those mistakes because he's been running 5 or 6 runner fields again? Is he going to be a completely different horse with a pace?
Imperial Aura was the race he came back in, wasn't it? I'm amazed that he managed to finish so close. As you whacked the last dude, and jumping for me is the worry. I've got to be honest.
But again, you do. I mean, when he's looked good a couple of times in bigger fields, hasn't he? So that was my only thing.
That's interesting, isn't it? You'd expect a horse, an obviously horse, maybe to jump a bit better in a smaller field, would you?
That's your first initial thought would be. Yeah, he's got a lot more space to see the fences. In these, sometimes you don't even see the fences, especially if you're taking your time. You're in the middle of the pack. You're relying on the horse's jump. Again, comes back to trust. Is Black Op one of them ones you could...
What's going on? Unbelievable.
Give me a bit of room, please.
Yes, absolutely. Great to have the socials coming in. Keep them coming. Fantastic. We've got 3 big more races coming for you here on RP Live. Plenty of time to talk in between the races. Having loads of fun. It looks that... the conditional, Barry, this is a big price, isn't it? The ultimate winner. Saw off Kildesart. Saw off Vindication, despite whacking the second last. Is it a first time out thing, do you think, the market's being so neg on the conditional?
Yeah, he's 20 now. He had been mashed at a low of 10-1, but out to 20 now. Yeah, I suppose it could be. It's just, it shows, he wouldn't be one that would pique my interest in a race like this first time up this season. There, Secret Investor and Vindication, 9.6 and 9.8 respectively at the moment. Kildestat's still steady at 10.5. It just looks like Secret Investor. Obviously, punter's not put off by the fact that Harry Cobden's not riding that now. I'm sure a lot of them still are under the impression that he is, but you've flagged up, obviously, that he's not now.
I'll tell you what, Sean Bowen is riding really, really well at the minute. He's, like I say, he looked like he was going to break into the top 2 of 3 jockeys, didn't he? He's just levelled out a bit for Paul Nicholls, but this is a big moment for him. He's riding really, really well. Straightforward jockey, isn't he? He's got a lot of strength and a bit of a brain. Straightforward
and deals with pressure really well. He's so laid back, and it's not that he doesn't care. It's just like, if the horse is good enough to win, he'll win.
It's give him every chance.
That's it.
Which
and
I think as a punter, that's exactly what you want.
He was unlucky. I thought he might sort of get a bit more off of Paul Nicholls, but that
hasn't
sort of
quite worked out.
hasn't
so far, has it?
transpired.
But 9 from 25 in the past couple of weeks.
He honestly, he's been riding
strike rate.
Yeah.
He's been riding like I say, man possessed.
A bit like Bass, Dave Bass.
Yeah.
Dave Bass on.
And again, we're talking about
fire.
psychology and confidence.
Fergus Gregory.
Fergus Gillard. Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Gillard, of course.
Darryl Holland.
Darryl Holland.
Yeah.
I mean, he won the big
Jack
race at
Tudor.
Haydock last week. Darryl Holland. I mean.
Cloth Cap's
got
in
there.
this, isn't he? Tom Scudamore gets a ride on Cloth Cap. He has been, Tom Segal put him up price-wise, absolutely hammered in this. He's the one horse that I usually am with, and he lets me down in some form for
Good
the
third
win.
to Frodon last time out.
He was. It just there's something about him, Ross Brierley. First time cheap pieces. He's got his ground though.
He has got his ground, yeah. I just worry whether he's a bit of a slogger and, does he have any change in
Loads
gear
of weight here, isn't he? So
He
that's the thing. But
again, I mean, I don't know. It feels a long time since these eye-catching, well-handicapped John Joe chases have really sprung to life, hasn't it? It feels there was a period a few years ago where I remember back in the likes of John Spirit in big races and those kind of horses. You think, oh, they are primed for this kind of run.
What's the thing that used to win around Catterick? The Richie McClernand horse in the Gaze Smith colour. Oh. Won the Ultimo a couple of times. What was it called? The horse that always turned up on the big day.
Yeah, I know exactly.
We can't remember.
Because of the G?
Oh, I can't get it. Anyway, you'll tell us out there. Because listen, we've got to get back to the race. They're lining up. They're jockeying for position. Mattie Batchelor at this point, this is what you alluded to, isn't it? Down at the start. Who wants to be there? What type of character am I riding? Loads of chat going on.
Loads of chat. Everyone's sort of rustling around for position. Everyone wants to get a good start. You don't really want... Over 3 mile, you think, I've got plenty of time. But everyone wants to get in their right position because you want to do right. It's a big race. Owners, trainers want to win it. You want to try and do as much.
You don't want to be going back afterwards and going, guys, I lost it at the start. I'm so sorry.
No, it's the last thing you want to do.
Pressure's
Hollywell, by the way. Hollywell.
Holywell, yeah.
That one that began with a G.
It was close. It was one letter out, to be
Darryl
fair.
Holland.
Stars.
Yeah. We were close.
Oh,
one
fantastic.
letter out this time. It was
Yeah,
15
we're getting ever closer. We're getting ever closer.
Exactly. So it's been listen, I've been up since 5
And last time
a.m.
Scu done 10 stone, what did he win?
Good question.
Last time I was on.
in Tennessee.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's all there, isn't it? Great stuff. Good luck wherever you're playing. It is the Ladbrokes. It is the old Hennessy, whatever you want to call it. It's an absolute belter, grade 3 handicap. Will we see something very special? We've had loads of drama. Let's see what Ross Brierley's going to make of it. They're just about to jump off.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a test of my so-called commentating skills, isn't it, Dave, that you've been bigging me up with? So let's see how they get on then as they line up.
Oh, they're all rushing in.
I was
going
going
to
to say,
start.
They looked like there was a lot of pace on. That's one thing we didn't mention. It looked like there was going to be a lot of pace, and it looks like half the field want to get on with it here. So are they going to go off first time? They are. They jumped first time, and probably the slowest away was Ardlethan as the channel changes.
We've got songs of praise on.
Good timing. And here we go. Cloth Cap then leading them quite a little bit surprisingly, really. A mistake from Copperhead in the middle of the pack and out the back as well. Ballyoptic maybe not enjoying himself early doors. Right then, Black Op on the inside is Cloth Cap. Vindication's also up there. Secret Investor and Danny Whizbang, not a good jump, and Ballyoptic again has ploughed through that one.
Conditional made a mistake there
on
as well.
On the far side, we've got Regal Encore. The conditional just tucked away on the inside with 2 for gold. Ardlethan's down the inside as well. And again, Ballyoptic not enjoying this. Master Malarkey's a little bit far behind, as is Boer the Bear. Specifically going wide, it looks like Kill the Sart is wide as well as Regal Encore. But Cloth Cap, Right, Black Op. Then we've got Vindication, Regal Encore, Kill the Sart's Secret Investor. Quick mention for Potterman. Matty said he comes off the bridle a long way from home. He's got a nice sit in there. Then 2 for goal, and the conditional are tucked away in very similar colours.
Couple of things to say for first impression over the first couple of friends is who thought Cloth Cap would be leading. This is the first time they've ever done this with this horse, I think. And also, if you're on Copperhead and you took the plunge, the faith with the Tizzards, he hasn't jumped the first couple that well indeed. Killed a start if you're on him. I know Ben Pauling wanted to be handy. He's just lost a bit of a position as well. Mattie Batchelor, first thoughts?
I do like the way Black Ops, I don't want to tempt fate, but he's jumping a lot better. Potter's Man is travelling well, which is nice to see. Conditional made a little mistake early doors, but Scoo's travelling along nicely. Harriet Graham horse there, joining it up the front there. They've all got their positions. They've sort of steadied it up now and going a nice pace for the 3 mile 2.
If you're Nico de Boinville and you're on Kildesart, you've been told to be in the first 4 or 5. A little bit slow with the first, I think he was. He's now back in midfield on the outside. Would he be panicking?
No, as you say, it's 3-2. his hand's been played now, so he's got to ride a different sort of race. You don't want to rush him up there now and say you're going to be exerting energy, so you've got to sort of ride it a different race.
This is a horse that prepped over hurdles, of course, like Copperhead in the same race. They haven't been that fluent. It's a different ball game, isn't it? They're going a nice gallop. Barrier passing the stands for the first time. What's the market saying?
It's all about vindication. Into 9-2 now in running. Secret Investors out to 10-1. Kill the Starts out to 12-1. Cloth Cap into 5-1.
Master Malarkey's gone.
Master Malarkey gone.
We've lost Master Malarkey and Copperhead's pulled up as well.
What price is Cloth Cap, Barry?
5-1 now.
What about Secret Investor? He's got a lovely sit on the inside, just in midfield.
Out to 13-1 in running. Out to 20 now.
The moment I said that, he put down for Sean Bowen. Typical.
Mr. Malarkey gone as well.
Mr. Malarkey was the fall of Ross Brierley.
Both of them. Yeah, Mr. and Master Malarkey.
Mr. Malarkey.
Mr. Master.
Cloth Cap then in front. The Waller jump, but he just steadies into that a little bit. At the back, Beware the Bear just being ridden along
struggling
as well, and also Le Bagoir not enjoying things
I tell you,
whatsoever.
he's winging them, guys. Regal Encore. Don't usually see him this prominent, do you?
Yeah, he was obviously a good winner last time out, wasn't he? Yeah, really knuckled down well. To beat Watmore, who runs later on. Cloth Cap then in front and it has been jumping very nicely indeed off a very reasonable gallop. Right, then in behind we've got Vindication, who's just been ridden into this one, and he gives it a lovely jump there. Black Op, a poor jump out the back. Ballyoptic, I can't believe he's still going. Ardlethan starting to come into it. Danny Whiz bangs off the bridle as well. Potterman, the Conditional and 2 for Gold for me are in the perfect positions down this inside, providing of course nothing. Potterman out unleashes.
Potterman's gone Tom Cannon into the ground. He's up on his feet, thankfully.
Things starting to go through the gears then here. Cloth Cap, though, still loving life out in front. The Conditional and 2 for Gold in behind. Right, Vindication, Regal Encore, Secret Investor, Kill the Salt, Black Op. Then we've got Ballyoptic, Ardlethan, the Hollow Ginge, Danny Whizbang, Le Bagoir, and Beware the Bear is starting to just come into it as well. But Cloth Cap, as you said, this bold ride out in front. A little bit of a mistake there. On the inside for 2 for Gold, who maybe didn't jump that as well as you would have liked. But, I mean, it's all about Cloth Cap's jumping here so far. Yeah,
he's absolutely winging them. Like I say, this is not a horse that we usually see going from the front, is it? OK, again, not happy with Kildesart's jumping. I've got to admit, the conditional's absolutely cruising. 2 for Gold comes off the bridle a little bit. We're coming up to the cross fence now. Mattie Batch, what are the thoughts in Tom Scudamore's mind?
If he jumps this way, he's travelling well, he's jumping great, he's getting sights of all his fences. He's in a great rhythm here, Scoo, and he's only got 10 stone.
We're all making with jostling for positions up. We come to the cross fence then. Barrier, is the market all about Cloth Cap now?
Yeah, it's him and Vindication. It's 4.5, 7-2 in each of 2. Vindication and Cloth Cap. They're heading the market, and rightly so.
OK, let's get back to over the cloth fence. We go.
We've lost Vindication. Vindication has gone.
Absolutely unbelievable scenes. Cloth Cap and Right. Will they be dominating here? The conditionals latching on. This is some race now because we're getting going. Ross Brierley into the home straight. Here we go.
Cloth Cap then still in front as he has been from the word go. Let's see if he can keep going with Right in behind. And we've got 2 for Gold off the bridle trying to sneak down the inside. I think is the Hollow Ginger. And we've got also a Black Op. And as they said, the conditional is in great nick as well. Another wonderful jump there from Cloth Cap. Secret Investor ploughs through that one, but Cloth Cap is still swinging along out in front.
He's getting weight from everything.
He's absolutely loving life here. Out in front, Cloth Cap, another good jump. Right, and then the conditional coming into it as well. The conditional, first time out this season, we're worried about that run, but he's got a fantastic chance here. The conditional coming up to challenge.
If he wins this, boys, I tell you what.
Cloth Cap, another perfect jump. Then we've got the conditional and Right behind those running up for the places. We've got Right.
3 are going clear.
Down the inside as well. I think we've got Beware the Bear as well, but it's Cloth Cap.
Cloth
Cap out in front. He's led from the word go up to us. That's a perfect jump again, and he's barely got off the bridle. We said he didn't have necessarily too much of a turn of foot. Well, he's not needed it here. He's jumped them into submission from the outset at Newbury, and everything else in behind has been watching Cloth Cap from the outset. Cloth Cap absolutely bolts up. Beats Right into second place. Back in third was the conditional. I'm pretty sure that's Beware the Bear.
Beware the Bear, fourth.
Was it definitely Beware the Bear?
Flying from out the back, I think it was, yeah.
In very similar colours.
Incredible scenes, drama as ever, Vindication going at that aforementioned cross fence. You've got to get it right. Where would he have finished? Brendan Powell goes up to Tom Scudamore and gives him a little pat with his stick on the shoulder, and guys, Tom Segal put that up in price-wise. He was absolutely smashed in. We've never seen him do this before. Has he just been waiting to go from the front, Ross Brierley? Well,
I mean, we were saying it's been a while since we've seen a well-handicapped John Joe Chaser do something like that, and that was a plan executed from the word go. Just a quick word, I think it might have been the Hollow Ginge actually ran on for fourth, but we'll just wait for confirmation of that. But, I mean, we said we want to be prominent. They looked like there was going to be a lot of pace. and he's got an easy time of it out in front. He's just been able to get into that rhythm, stays further than this as well, so stamina was guaranteed.
We'll get a word with Mattie Batchelor in a second after we go to Barry Orr. Barry, this is a horse that stays. He was getting weight all the way. At what point did the market go, this ain't coming back?
Yeah, first time cheek pieces as well. Obviously, I've worked the Oracle on him and a change of tactics. But, you know, as soon as he got to the front end, the back straight first time round, he started trading at around the 5-4 mark, which is in around the 7-2. The runner-up traded at a low of 2.30. The conditional I right traded at a low of 4 in running. So, yeah, it wasn't a massive in-running news story, obviously, with the winner always being prominent. But good performance from him, and the first-time cheek piece has done the trick.
Indeed. This is a horse that has long been thought of as being a Grand National. You remember he was placed in a Scottish Grand National. I've always had him down as a Grand National horse. I just thought he was a bit of a thinker. A lot of the time, I think it was Doncaster last year where he was a race where he really ought to have won, and he just had to think about it. Cheap pieces going from the front. I guess, Matty Batch, the booking of Tom Scudamore told you what they were going to do.
Yes, it's Scoos. He's been riding for the Pikes for years. They're all sort of really prominent. And as I say, with that weight, 10 stone, why not try out there and make your rivals come to you? And they never, all the way up the straight, and as I say, down the back, I mean, Vindication, it was going okay when it fell, but this horse was travelling. It always looked the winner turning in.
Yeah, the conditional, what a run again from that second last year. A lot more weight on his back.
He'll probably come on for that as well.
Do you think
he's probably
now that they'll be looking at something like the Cotswold Chase or something like that for him, maybe upping his sights? Could he be the next giant bolster for the yard? He's a horse that they could. I don't think he'd look out of place in a Gold Cup, would he?
I mean,
He features next week.
That would be some turnaround.
Bridgie will probably run it, I know.
Bridgie probably would. Yeah.
You get the feeling he's the type of horse that whatever race you put him in, regardless of the grade, he's gonna
strong traveller, isn't he?
Which
he's got, and he loves Cheltenham, as we well know.
We said before it looked a competitive renewal, and there's never at any point did you think the leader's in trouble here.
Yeah,
he's jumped them into submission.
Right has run extremely well, hasn't he?
Really well,
Grant, there's a big one in him.
Also worth mentioning as well, you know, with Trevor Hemmings getting rid of quite a few of his horses, it's noticeable that he's had a couple of very nice winners recently with the ones he's kept. So,
that Cloudy Glen was impressive in the Southern National, wasn't he?
Yeah, very impressive.
He seems to have held on to it. Some nice ones. The winner gets a quote for the Grand National. He's 25 from 66 to 1.
That's interesting, Barry, because this is a horse. All they wanted for this horse was to get him up in the weights to get him in the race. That's going to happen now.
I think the conditional will go that route, you know.
What, the Grand National?
I think so.
Do you think we might have just seen a very good Grand National trial?
He ran it in the Hennessy last year. Went to Cheltenham, get more experience, won at Cheltenham. I think
he's in the Beecher. Barry's probably onto something there, isn't he? Beats I right then. Cracking run for Harriet Graham. Congratulations to Connections there. The conditional, superb run. The Hollow Ginge, absolutely out of nowhere. We know that he can, perhaps back to Cheltenham for him next month. The Hollow Ginge, watch out for that team. Tristan Davis. Few disappointments, weren't there? Obviously, Vindication, he came down. We know what happened to him. Kildesart, never really had a cut at his fences, didn't he? Secret Investor, didn't quite find off the bridle.
I mean, the thing about Kildesart is, I think Ben Paulin's a great trainer, but first time out, they've run absolute blinders, and I always think that's when you want to catch them. Off the back of a break, they run fantastic races, as Kildesart did last time out, and sometimes that second run is just a bit of a...
That's interesting.
A bit of a below par run, but I mean, the main thing is, again, we were saying about this kind of race and this kind of track as well, you notice that anything in behind makes mistakes, suddenly you're in behind something that makes a mistake or a jockey comes tumbling off, you're in a terrible position. Right and Cloth Cap, they were out there on the speed, and with horses making mistakes in behind, those two just had a clear run, and I think that's made a huge difference.
Vindication there, he come up on a long stride there at that cross fence, just a bit long and low, and because the landing side of the cross fence there just runs away from you, it's just hard to keep your landing gear out.
They'll be so frustrated with that because a lot of people will be disparaging after he worked there and he didn't jump very well, and a few people went off him for this, and he jumped so well to that point, didn't he? And it was like, what was that schooling all about? You mentioned it, just two horses, gets in a bigger field, strange one that.
It was just, as I say, it's just one of those things. He's jumped impeccably up to then, and Dave Bass, he's gone down, he's seen a nice long stride, which is fine.
He'll be frustrated.
He's come up for him. He was just long and a bit low, and that ground just runs away from him. It's just caught him out.
Well, there we go. Okay, well, that was the 2020 Ladbrokes Chase, an absolute belter. Was it perhaps a trial for some of the better races over fences, or did we just see a Grand National winner there? Let us know. Did you pile in with Pricewise Tom Segal? It was some big prices about Cloth Cap, wasn't it? Tom Scudamore, take a bow. I've just said that Watford have gone 1-0 up. Happy days. We're terrible at defending a lead.
Who are you playing today?
Who have we got today? Is it Preston today? I think we've got Preston today, something like that. I think it is Preston. Yeah, we're terrible at defending leads, so if you want to lay that one. Okay, so we've got to get to Newcastle. It's the 3:15 rehearsal chase. We're going from one long-established chase handicap to the other, and this has been a feverish betting race so far. Barry Orr.
Yes, it certainly has. And Watmore heads the market at 11-4 at the moment, 3.75. Pim, who was the anti-post favourite in all the lists once before the final decks came through, was 7-2, 13-2. The butcher said somewhat just pitched on landing in Cheltenham last day. Would have been a lot closer to the big breakaway only for that. Brave Eagle 8.2. Cool Mix, there's been good money for that as well. He's been well supported, and that's what I fancy in the race if Magic Fingers wants to get working on that. He ran well off a revised mark of 132 in Aintree behind Modus and Spring 10 Lake, and he stayed on well that day over 2.5 miles. I think he's been crying out for a step up and trip here. The horse that Sky Pirate, his form ties in well with him on his Weatherby run, and obviously Sky Pirate wasn't beating that far in the Paddy Power just a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to back him at Betfair SP, Ross, so if you'd kindly just click on the BSP and we're going to have 50 quid on him. He was as big as 20 at some stage this morning. Cool Mix. There has been money for him, but I think he might just drift out now as money's coming for Watmore and the butcher said, and potentially even Pim, although he's a little bit weak at the moment. But I think money might come for him as well. So that could drive out the Betfair SP. So I'm happy to take the Betfair SP on Cool Mix here. So 50 quid on Cool Mix at BSP.
Okay, you've got time to react to Barry's play out there. Interesting slant in as well. Another horse carrying 10 stone, as Cloth Cup was in our previous race at Newbury. Okay, Ross Brierley, how did you see the rehearsal chase ending up?
Well, again, the first thing that kind of stood out was a potential lack of pace. I mean, the only one who genuinely regularly goes in the front is Pim. But I just think Watmore ran an absolute blinder last time out. And you might look at it and think this horse doesn't win the races that he should. But again, I mean, you look down in the races he's been running, and he's running behind Mr. Malarkey at Kempton and Imperial Aura at Cheltenham. So he's been going to genuine top-class Grade 1 tracks and running in big races. He travelled all over Regal Encore last time out, but of course, Regal Encore's yard were on a go-in day that day.
Yeah, he loves Ascot as well, doesn't he, Regal Encore?
He does, yeah.
His first run as well, Watmore.
Yes,
yeah.
He's a second season novice, isn't he, basically? I know a lot about this. Also, I'm really keen on him. I've made this one of my better plays of the day. Okay, he's 5-2 now, it's plenty short enough, but getting back on a left-handed track, I think, is absolutely key for him. Flat track, if you can get him into a rhythm, Tom O'Brien, good man to be doing that. He'll be bang there at the finish, I think, getting loads of weight off Pim. Mattie Batch, how did you see this playing out?
Yeah, Watmore, just jumping off now. Watmore, good fourth at Cheltenham. Pim, good, smart novice, and wheels fell off a little bit, but did come back with a win at Sandown.
Okay, so they're adopting the positions. As Matty said, they are off and running in the rehearsal chase. Let's give you a nice, fun commentary for this, shall we? Dave Orton will adopt the position. What have we got up front? It's Definitely Red, the marvellous Definitely Red, another Grand National candidate. Of course, another trip back to him for Brian Ellison. Okay.
Cheek pieces back on for Definitely Red.
Here, the first fence has gone up, and there's carnage again. Is there Barry Orr? Whoa! Shantou Village is gone. That's Harry Reid on the floor. Thankfully, he's up and running. I'll tell you what, lads, they're going to right gallop here, Ross Brierley, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, again, we suddenly thought, there's no pace on paper, and then Definitely Red's come through to take it up as well, taking risks as getting involved in that early pace as well, and obviously Pim as well. And that fall of Shantou Village, or the unseat, has certainly not helped Watmore, or in particular the Butcher's Set, who was nearly brought down, I think. So again, as we saw at Newbury, quite a few of those in behind have been hampered by not only their own mistakes, but the mistakes of those around them.
More drama, absolutely. So before we get a word from Matty, let's see who has just taken up the lead there.
York
yeah.
It is York Hill, unbelievable. York Hill, my goodness gracious me, the size and the drama of this chap managed to get up. We've got Definitely Red set up there. Pim is adopting a nice handy position. Let's just see how they pop this one. All over okay. Actually, just looking for Cool Mix, Barry. That earlier incident can't have done him any favours.
No, it certainly hasn't. He's around the 14 mark now. Your favourite still steady away at 3.85 in running. Pim has come in to to 130. The Butcher said out to 8.8 now. Brave Eagle has come in a little bit, and York Hill as well has come in. He had a BSP of 80. He's 12.5 now in running.
Okay, Tom Segal going for a big race double. Brave Eagle, Nicky Henderson, first time blinkers for him. He's got a nice inside sit. Whatmore, a little bit keen, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, again, I don't think he was particularly helped by that unseat early on. I think it put him off his stride a little bit, and he's just having to try and get back into the swing of things. But he is a strong travelling, keen-going sort, so it's not completely out of character for him. But you do worry whether he's just been put off his stride early on. But he's managed to get on the heels of those. I mean, I'd be surprised if the Butcher said gets round with the way he's been. He's jumping and that early mistake. So hopefully we won't have drama with a loose horse as we might do as Shantou Village is just intimidating York Hill. But I think Brave Eagle's got a good sit. And we must remember we've just seen a horse win at Newbury who staying trips. The horse who ticks those boxes here is taking risks, who obviously had form tied in with Cloth Cap. Last year's winner, and he's in a lovely position for a horse who loves a good slog, that's for sure.
It's interesting, the lads at the back, they must think that the boys have gone quite a good gallop, because they're a bit off the pace, but none of them are in a hurry. Yeah, they're sitting tight. Coleman's sitting tidy.
My initial answer to that question would be that the Butchers said Aidan Coleman, he's probably a bit of a character, and definitely Cool Mix likes to, Where's a Hood likes to get there. I think if they're the sort of horses, if you ask them to catch up now, then they might just spit it out a little bit. But we're on the far side then for the 3:15, the rehearsal.
York Hill's loving it.
York Hill's absolutely loving life. Sandy Thompson picked up this rejuvenated character. First time tongue tie. Is he breathing a little bit better? Definitely Red's in a lovely rhythm. I wanted to ask you about Pim and Darryl Jacob, Mattie Batch. He's given up the outside to no one.
Yeah, he's given, as I say, he has had jumping issues in the past. He was a lot better at Sandown, but there's only 3 runners. I think Darryl's just took him a little bit wide to see his fences and go from there, really.
Interesting. He's going in a really nice rhythm, of course, in the Altior colours. Pim was often tarred with that brush, wasn't he? Never going to reach those heights, but he's a talented horse. Can he carry this weight? OK, the loose horse is coming up to York Hill. Who's going to hit it? Someone. Two go down. Brave Eagle goes down. And also, definitely, Red goes down. Oh, goodness gracious me. What a dramatic afternoon we're having. York Hill's been left out in front. Unbelievable. He's gone 5 clear. Will he get home? Cool Mix, Barry. He's coming with a chance.
He certainly is, but York Hill trading now a 5-2, would you believe? The same price as Whatmore, and Pim is currently a 3-1 chance, and they look to be fighting it out.
Only on the exchanges can this happen. York Hill, my goodness gracious me, when did he win the Ballymore? Seems like an aeon ago, doesn't it? But Pim's still going nicely, just off him, taking risks off the bridle, but do we know he stays? Whatmore now making the move, Ross Brierley?
Yeah, Whatmore's got a huge chance here, hasn't he? Like I said, we're going to have to see whether this horse does actually want to win, because he keeps placing in big races. Is he going to get his head in front? But York Hill's having a great time in front. I think a really interesting ride on Cool Mix to try and give that one a bit more confidence and bring that into it.
Very good ride, I think, so far.
So far, though, York Hill is having a great time with it out in front.
David Armstrong, he owns York Hill with Lee Westwood, and he also owns Cool Mix.
They've had some luck, haven't they? And they swing in then. York Hill does stay. He is a distance winner. How will his breathing go? Cool Mix coming with the chance. Also Pim regaining his strength. Also Whatmore. It's a 4-horse race at this point. Taking risks. Looks like he's just ballooned the last. He'll be fighting out for 5th at best. OK, now York Hill comes under pressure. Pim lines up. Taking aim. They come to 2 out. They steady themselves. This
Whatmore's
is where Darryl Jacob goes for it.
Yep.
York Hill not giving in on the inside. Whatmore just throwing it about. He's going to need to really dig deep. They pull away from Cool Mix. This is going to be a great finish. York Hill, unbelievable scenes. Absolutely wins it. This won't be for catching, will it? Whatmore's the only possible danger. The weight now going to be Pim's downgrade. Look at Cool Mix coming back for some more. Unbelievable. Sees York Hill over the line. Flies it. This is amazing. Sandy Thompson. Will Whatmore have one more say? The loose horse comes between them. Cool Mix not totally out of it. But York Hill, you thought he was gone. He's back. Unbelievable scenes. He finally wins again over fences. Sandy Thompson, take a bow. I've lost my breath. Whatmore gets the each way money. What was in third? Cool Mix?
Cool Mix was third.
I mean,
York Hill.
Just each way double on 2 front runners in the staying chasers, please. Yeah, York Hill. I mean, again, we've seen so much drama today, and that has put other horses on the back foot. I mean, Watmore was nearly brought down earlier on. Cool Mix was inconvenienced to run a big race. Pim couldn't get to the front. And York Hill turning back the years.
66-1.
Well, listen, it's remarkable. Come on, who had a throwaway on York Hill? We're just seeing definitely red going back to the start. That's great to see. That's Danny Cook. Good to see Daddy back up. He had a mother and a father of all, didn't he, earlier on in the season? We're just seeing the earner now going absolutely mad. Sandy Thompson, giving it a Betfair Live, loving life up at Newcastle. Happy days. Sandy Thompson, listen, it's easy to say now, he's brilliant with these horses, isn't he? These staying chases, he gets these store horses and he makes them all sort of 130 horses. He also inherits horses. This horse has an FPP next to his name, called all sorts of names, wasn't he? With Graham Wiley and Willie Mullins. Great stuff.
Great stuff. And of course, Ryan Mania, retired, won the National, come back, sorted out his weight, and they're having a good run together. They keep having winners.
Mania.
Brilliant.
Well, I mean,
Regal Encore. Not Regal Encore. What was the National winner he won on?
Ryan Mania.
The Sue Smith horse. Why can't we? Aurora's Encore.
Aurora's Encore.
I knew it had an encore.
I mean, between a lot of us, we can barely remember what day it is.
Begin with G. Darryl Holland.
It's been a long year.
Listen, Ryan Mania. But what is it about these front runners in these staying chases? Man, with Cheltenham's, with Newcastle and Newbury. We know who's going to make the running in the next. It will be Tom Scoonermore, we think, on Moonlighter, our final race coming up. Is he going to be a market plunge? What is it? The rhythm?
It's the better ground. It's the better ground that helps. If you can get out, get in a rhythm, it makes it harder for the others to come and get you. On softer ground, you can't get away with it because you need to stay, and stamina becomes a big key. And on better ground, this is where they come to the fore.
This horse was chucked in on his old form as well.
Can you name? I was thinking this earlier on, thinking, speed favouring track. Can you name? I can't really think of many decent tracks where I'm thinking, I really want to be on a hold-up horse over fences here.
It's remarkable. We had Keith Melrose on the show a couple of weeks back, betting editor for the Racing Post, and he said his view on it is on the sharper tracks, Matty. He said that you need to go quicker to ascertain your position. That's why they all fall in a hole a little bit. On the stiffer tracks, they can maybe go a bit slower, and they're actually filling their lungs a bit more. I don't know, but it does seem remarkable. Grand Nationals, all sorts of races. The longer the race, sometimes, the
I was going to say, but you say about sharper track, but you think Warwick as well, and you go over 3 mile plus at Warwick, and the front runners just keep going and going and going. So it just seems to be. I think, is it just mistakes? They get punished in these
making a mid-race move. I'm not sure, but York Hill beats Watmore. Cool Mix, good shout, Barry. He must have gone all over the place on the graph on Betfair.
Yeah, he traded at a low of 1.74, would you believe, and the runner-up 1.77. The winner, York Hill, had a Betfair SP of 80, so 79-1 there versus an industry SP of 66, and a great win. Obviously, a 4-time Grade 1 winner, York Hill. What a servant he was to Willie Mullins. He just obviously, Graham Wiley is a great pal of the owners, David Armstrong, and also of Lee Westwood. So he gave them a couple of those horses that they from the dispersal with Willie Mullins, and that's, I think, their first winner for them. So congratulations to Lee Westwood and David Armstrong. There
we are, absolutely superb. We've got some socials on the screen, I believe, coming through. I think we've just heard Will in my ear telling me coming up on the screen. What have we got? Yes, we have Hugh Masson back on. Unbelievable. Had a terrible punting day, but that made me smile. Give up on Watmore, lads. Just a quick word for that. You did say, does he want to win?
I mean, it's potential again that he just doesn't have those gears, and that, he might be another extreme staying chaser here, because he kind of lollops along at the same pace. He travels, but when you go and ask him to win his race, he just keeps doing the same.
Just stays the same pace, doesn't he? From
every single
word
race.
Go, he just keeps going and going.
Which is great. I mean, if you're an owner or an each way back or a place back or whatever, you're going to get a massive run for your money every single time. But when you want a horse to really stick his head down and grind it out, so far he's not been that horse. But the amount of times you see both on over jumps and on the flat, those kind of horses, when they don't have the gears, give them a bit more of a stamina test, and actually their skill at just keep going and going and going comes into the form.
Pim dropped away.
Pim, it's probably weight. He's gone up quite a bit for that return run. I don't know whether the new mark might have kicked in. He ran a really good race, didn't he? Because he came under pressure, and some people have had him down as also hasn't found a great deal in the past, but he definitely responded. I think he's probably just found his level now. We've got one more to come on here on RP Live. It's the 3:35. Traditionally, closing Hennessy Day, as we like to call it, is a 2-mile handicap chase. And the market is really responded to 2 in this. Tom Scudamore going for a quick double. I think Barry Orr, you're about to tell us he's got a live chance of getting it on Moonlighter.
Yeah, it seems very well fancied indeed, Moonlighter, at the moment. Just let me pull it up here. He is currently trading at.
Laptop
just froze a little there. Yeah, 3.40. But money for Zanza for Richard Johnson as well. He's into a 3-1 chance now. 11-2 to Russian Dian, who pulled up on his last run. King of May is currently a 10-1 chance, same price as Harry Skelton's right Hatcher. But Moonlighter being very, very popular all morning, and has Nick Williams, obviously that run last day behind a horse that's one of the really well fancied for the Betfair Tyndall Creek this day next week, Grenadine. So definitely a horse that could be if he comes back to some of his form of old, could be well handicapped.
Barry, where are you? Where is the trade here?
Yeah, I fancy Brian Ellison's horse, the King of May. Nico de Boinville takes the ride. He won well in Carlisle. He's off the back of what? He's been absent for nearly a year now. But I don't think Brian Ellison would be sending him down here now if he didn't think he would give a good account of himself. I thought outside of the favourite, I didn't think there was much in the race that interested me, and I just thought the favourite didn't represent any value at all at his current odds of around the 9-4 mark. So the King of May for me, Magic Fingers, if you want to get working there, we're going to back him. We're going to back him win and place. So we're going to have 25 quid win and 25 quid in the 4 places, as we're winning just about, and I want to make sure we get something for the Injured Jockeys Fund. So we're going to be price takers again here, Ross, please.
All right, 25 4 places matched at 202 and 10-1 on the win.
He's an interesting horse, Matty. You were quite animated through that argument that Barry was putting up there. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Brian Anderson wouldn't come down here just for the sake of it. He is a horse that goes well fresh. I think he's a bit unexposed. I think he's got a lot more to offer. Moonlighter, good second in the Holden Cup at Exeter. Yeah. Got good form behind Rouge Viv. Did finish second at Stratford on heavy ground, which probably wouldn't suit him, so you'd sort of allow him that run. I do like Ebelio. Phoenicia Williams' horses are just starting to run well. Good second at Ascot, and probably got beat by a race fit horse that day.
He's got a lot of class about him, I think. Yeah. Going back to the Brian Anderson horse, Nico de Boinville takes the ride. 6 rides for Brian Anderson, 3 have won, so 50% strike rate there. So Brian knows what he's doing, I think, there, doesn't he? And he is interesting first time out. I think that was quite an interesting angle. Moonlighter giving me a lot away. I'm quite strong on Moonlighter here. I think he would likely to get the lead. Weston Miller might have something to say about that, but Tom Scudamore will be on an absolute eye. If he wings them, I was so impressed with how he ran at Exeter. He nearly beat Griantine, didn't he? Yeah. And while Griantine probably had a blow and a bit of a think about it, and is a class horse going forward, as Barry said, Tingle Creek, here on RP Live next Saturday, I think he's got a big say. The reason why I was toying with not putting him up, I thought I'd found one when I looked at the 48-hour decks, and I thought it was Zanza. And I was like, I found one here. I'm going to have a nice, cheeky, filthy each-way, dirty each-way bet at around about a 5-1 shot. Tom Segal goes and puts him up, of course, reasoning that he was a good 6th in the Betfair hurdle at this track over the handicap last year. And he does indeed look like a horse that's been laid out for this. At Warwick last time, I can't remember the horse that won the race. I'm going to get it up right now. All Mankind, wasn't it? The aforementioned All Mankind. He tore off, beat him by 13 lengths. He came from out of the clouds, and it looked like it had been. He was lining up for a handicap job. My worry about Zanza is that the price is gone now, I think, and I don't think Mark is a gift. He might be an improver. I worry about him getting a little bit too far back here.
Yeah, possibly, because again, I mean, we know what Moonlight is going to do, and he's going to make it a test. And like you said, I thought you ran an absolute blinder at Exeter. But I mean, for me, arguably the best run was what looks his worst run, which is in the Kingmaker, because I thought that was a really warm renewal won by Rouge Viv. So he was surrounded by horses rated, 145 to 150 now. So I don't think 147 is necessarily a problem. He runs his track really well. He's won here, beat Precious Cargo, and he probably would have beat Tidal Flow, I think, when coming down on his other start here as well. So I mean, he's going to run an absolute blinder. I think the Russian Doyen has to be mentioned as well. His odds had a frustrating day, but there is a little bit of his form where you look at 135 and he's another course horse. So you've got 3 genuine Newbury horses as well, which so far we've seen today has definitely helped. But I agree. I think Moonlighter will be out there, and like I said, if Grenadine had been in this race, he'd have been a very skinny price indeed. So the fact that Moonlighter ran such a blinder, Yard had a winner the other day. I hope you're right, Dave.
It's interesting that Paul Nicholls doesn't have a runner in this race. It's a race that he usually targets and
won it last year.
Successfully as well. Magic Saint won it last year. He won it with Ux, Delan, a couple. It's a horse that. It's a race that Paul tends to have a horse for. Interestingly, he does. I wonder if Moonlighter scared him off putting one of his Grade B horses in it.
The horses don't scare Paul Nicholls off, surely.
I don't know about that.
If he had one, he'd run it.
Yeah, of course he would.
Well, yes, maybe, but he would have had Tamarack de Mathan, the thing that won at Wincanton.
Yeah.
I think the horses that he would have here, he needs to have something that's got a lot in, and I just think this is quite a competitive edition, and it's interesting that
you
Paul
say
has
about
got
having a
horse
lot in though. I mean, Zanza is the one because so far, over fences, this horse has not been.
Well, he's only
to
had
his
2
best.
runs over fence, hasn't he? And at Warwick last time, he got far behind. If you're Dickie Johnson, and okay, you're now into handicap company, do you think they've been giving him the experience because he's a horse that actually like to get on with it a bit over hurdles?
Yeah, he's had a bit of experience now. They might sort of take a more prominent role. I do like horse number 2, Hatcher. He's run at Cheltenham last time.
He's a character, Hatcher.
He's finished 7th, but it was a good run. He got put up £6 for that win, and all his form is on flatter tracks. If you look at all his wins, all his good form, he loves flat tracks. So this is ideal for him. It's very competitive.
Yeah. He used to be an absolute tearaway Hatcher. I think they've tried him on the flat as well, haven't they? And they learnt him to settle. And once he did that, he showed that he could go up to that 135. He's now on 143 level, so he's in against the big boys. The Russian
He's a
Doyen.
proper good ground horse as well.
Absolutely. And the faster they go, the easier he settles. Harry Skelton, he's already on the board, isn't he? They got Maracuja in here as well. Remember Paul Keeley was quite keen on that at Ascot last week.
Yeah, and he did
the tactics were completely what not Paul was expecting.
Well, do you think he's going to be in here to set it up for Hatcher?
This will be.
Could
he went too hard last time, didn't he? So we'll see if Maracuja
become
could he be a
pacemaker?
spoiler, is what we call them, isn't it? We used to call them. The Aidan O'Brien horses, if you like, on the flat, when they try and get these front runners out.
Yeah.
I think it's a clever move. But Western Miller is the outsider of the
Team
lot.
tactics, is that what you're suggesting?
Pressure's on Bridget.
Yes.
If she don't do it right, she'll be in the spare room this evening.
There you go. Absolutely. Maracuja is handicapped to win the race. Paul Keeley will be having a few shekels on him, I tell you. So look, we've covered the field pretty much. As I said, Western Miller is the outsider, but expect him to shorten up at some point in the run because he likes to get on with it. We're a minute or two away from the off time. Barry Orr, can you tell us who's going to go off Fav?
There's no doubt he'll go off Fav, Dave. Moonlighter was 130 matched on the exchange, is into 2-1 now, so really, really strong. Although there has been good support for Zanza as well. That's 11-4. The Russian Diane 11-2, and it's 10-1 bar. Hatcher's out to 10-1. Yeah, an interesting race, and Moonlighter, I think, worthy favourite for sure.
Thank you, Barry. They're going to tear off the final race here this afternoon on RP Live. It's been madness, hasn't it, Batch? It's been absolutely
Madness. Yeah, we've had run-outs, refusals.
Highlight,
Epitante. Looks straight. All roads lead to champion
Christmas hurdle now. Do we think
Christmas hurdle, champion hurdle? That's what they're
Christmas hurdle, champion hurdle. Happy days. Yeah, absolutely. But Barry, you said she'd gone into around about 5-2 now for the champion, didn't you, early on in the sportsbook?
2-1 from 3.
2-1 from 3 is real, because of course we saw the Morgiana, Barry, didn't we, with Abacadabras. Messy race, wasn't it, with Saint Rara as well. We expect they might just be beating each other, the Irish contenders, on the road to Cheltenham.
Yeah, they'll meet again at Christmas. And then obviously we've Honeysuckle tomorrow in the Hatton's Grey. She could drop back to 2 miles as well. It could be Honeysuckle and Epitant, 2 mares that head the market maybe after tomorrow for the champion hurdle.
Yeah, I wondered whether they might go down the champion hurdle route this year. I know if people she's got a legion of fans, and she obviously Honeysuckle because they've got the 160 lane. Anyway, they're off and running for the final race. I'll hand over to Ross Brierley. The Russian Doyen needed a bit of stoking up, but they are all off as one.
They are indeed as they approach the first, and no surprise to see Moonlighter ahead in the field, just being hassled a little bit by Western Miller. The Russian Doyen, not a wonderful jump out wide there, a bit skew if anything. Hatcher and Maracuja out the back. Moonlighter then pings that one, and we've lost Western Miller. Western Miller goes down, and Zanza has to jump round, as does Maracuja. Again, we're going to see horses in behind. Maybe not in the best position here, and Moonlighter is going to get a fairly easy time now. Western Miller's out of it, so Tom Scudamore could repeat the dose here as he goes up to jump this one over the water jump in sound fashion from Russian Doyen. In the perfect position in the van behind is the King of Mayberry selection with Zanza on the outside, Hatcher and Maracuja, the 2 skeleton horses, held up. But the worry, Dave, was that Moonlighter might get hassled by Western Miller, and now it's got easier for him.
And the fascinating thing, Batch, was, I tell you what, Nico de Boinville on the King of May, and also Richard Johnson and Zanza were both alive to that because they moved up a length or two right at the water jump.
Yeah, just sort of got up there a bit closer, just to keep the tabs on the front two.
Four to jump down here. Then Moonlighter gets over it. Russian Doyen, Zanza just a little bit novice there. Behind those we had Hatcher as well. As I said, the King of May in the mid pack there, and Maracuja back to his usual hold up tactics. Moonlighter. Tom Scudamore. That was not a good jump. He had to think about it, and he didn't come up with the answers. So far, if you're in front, you end up falling or unseating. Let's see if Russian Doyen can get over this next one.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Was that an unseat? It was the harshest of unseats because it was basically a fall.
Nearly on the floor, wasn't he?
So the Russian Doyen, a horse that does think about it. He's wearing first-time headgear, and isn't he having a good think about it? Barry Orr, what's the market saying?
Market now has Zanza at 15 to 8, 2.84. After that, you're looking at 8 Hatcher. Zanza and the Russian Doyen is 2.68, so it's the two of them at the head of the market. The King of May is currently...
there goes the Russian Doyen. He basically got rid of his jockey there, and now Zanza's in front.
I mean, so far it's been an absolute poison chalice, hasn't it? Being in front. Barry, you want to hope that King of May stays in second until over that final fence. That's for sure. Oh, and Russian Doyen has gone.
The King of May is now 6.6. Would you believe? But odds on the one in front now, 1.80 4 to 5.
Yeah, Zanza, this will be interesting. Tom Segal going for that double then at Newbury, quick double, and Richard Johnson will be thinking to himself, right, time to get on with it. Mattie Batchelor coming up to the cross fence. If you're Dickie, what are you thinking? I've got a hold, or when is he going to kick?
You've got to make this on a nice stride. He has been a little bit novice-y, but Dickie's seen one.
Oh, he definitely saw one there. King of May jumped it as well, though. Interestingly, Maracuja, he's totally reverted Ross Brierley to hold up tactics and Hatcher as well. Are they out of this?
Yeah, the two.
They're not out of this yet.
They're not, but based on the way that Zanza finished last time out, I reckon Richard Johnson will be pretty confident here. But Zanza in front, a dual course winner, of course, King of May in behind there. Then we've got Hatcher and Maracuja. Then as they come into the home straight at Newbury, we've got 3 to jump. Zanza comes up to
that tricky
fence.
He does. That's a great jump. Again.
Great
King
jump.
of May, Maracuja and Hatcher all still travelling well in behind, but Zanza has got into a nice rhythm. Is he going to keep jumping over the last two fences? Zanza.
He's been novice there. Maracuja's
come there swinging on the bridle to throw down a challenge then, and it is Zanza, Richard Johnson,
Hatcher's
Bridget
not
Andrews
done
and
with Mattie
Maracuja. Hatcher and the King of May, but Zanza much better a jump there as we...
that could be Hatcher out, just hit that one.
Yeah, it looks like Hatcher's hit that one and maybe just lost any winning chance there, but Zanza is going through the gears here, and Zanza comes up to the final fence and jumps that nicely indeed. Maracuja almost loses Bridget Andrews. The King of May in second place has been second throughout, and he's going to stay there as Zanza coasts home, obviously made easier by the fact that his two main market rivals both came a cropper, but Zanza has won that nicely indeed. King of May second, Maracuja wins the Skeleton Battle, and Hatcher
when he hit the front, Zanza, his jumping improved. He looked at the fences, everything was happening in front of him. He was novice.
So 2 out was the error when he gave Maracuja almost jump back into the backside then.
Do you know what? It wasn't really an error. He's gone in there and he was quick. He's racing at a speed and he's changed his feet. He's got in and he's got over it. That's good. That's clever.
There's a couple. I think he'll probably stay a bit further this year over hurdles and over fences as well. Did you take the plunge on Zanza? Tom Segal, what a day. The King of May, Barry, ran a really, really nice race. Did the market ever think he was going to get this one back though?
No, traded at a low of 3, the same price as Hatcher. The runner-up Maracuja hit a low of even money and running Dave. But the winner traded at 6 to 4 on jumping the 5th last, that cross fence.
It's the killer fence, isn't it? Absolutely, for want of a different expression. Okay, so this is we're watching back the replay, guys. Russian Doyen, he's a bit of a monkey, isn't he? I think we can certainly say that. If you're Tom Scudamore at the minute, this is where the Russian Doyen. He's popped over that one. It must have been 6-1, 6 out, wasn't it? We're just seeing Tom Scudamore. He's thinking, I've just won the big handicap. I thought I had a great chance on this. The ups and downs as racing, as you said.
That's it. Yeah, listen. Scoot's been around long enough. Half hour ago, you've won the biggest handicap of the year. You've come there. A bit harsh to say he's unseated. Scoot knows. He'd be driving home. He's got up. He's walked away. He's driving home. That's the way you got to look at it in this game. And Scoot's been in it long enough, and that's the way you think. Oh,
you're scrunching up your face there, Ross Brierley, at the Russian Doyen. It's a silly boy.
Yeah, it's just not nice to see, is it? And again, I mean, it's been such a dramatic day as well. I think any race has been without its Without its
probably the Ladbroke,
points.
wasn't it? The big handicap chase was the most straightforward of them all, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But listen, this is a horse that probably will stay a bit further, which might give him a couple of options. But you're looking at Grand Daniel now, I guess, if you win that race, aren't you?
Yeah, and I mean,
the Cheltenham Festival, of course.
The fact that, like you said, his 2 runs over fences have been very different to this, and he's been learning the game, hasn't he? Last time out, running on behind All Mankind, there was no way he was going to keep up with him around Warwick off the front, and he's had to do a couple of difficult things here because he's found himself in front a lot earlier than he was anticipating.
I think it's helped him though. I think he's learnt. This is typically learning on the job.
Yeah.
And he's gone out in front, and these last few fences, I think he's
this would have won whatever, wouldn't it? I think if they'd have all stood up, probably. I think Moonlighter would have stretched him, but I think the way he's finished and the way he's attacking them, he wouldn't have got too far back. He's got lots of speed, this horse, hasn't he?
I just think the way the races fell apart has helped him.
Yeah, so you said it wasn't an error, Matty.
It's not really an error. Look, he's gone in.
He's just thought about it. He's put himself right. You're right.
He was clever at it. For a novice to do that, that's as a jockey's point of view, for him to go and do that, what he's done, you're like giving him a pat.
So this will follow up, you think, of a higher mark. And I'll tell you what, form-wise, the King of May, you'd be happy with that run, wouldn't you? He's going to come on for that. He's only 6. He looks like he might want a bit of a trip this year as well, just looking at that.
I mean, it's just a lovely return, isn't it? He's run into a well-handicapped horse. He's managed to dodge the carnage as well. He's jumped soundly. He's kept going when the skeleton horses were snapping at his heels. If your connection's to the King of May, you've got a lovely season.
All the way up to 11-1 in the end. Good shout from Barry Orr again. Barry, it's been great to have you on. 2-1 you said for Epatante. We will be tingle creaking it next Saturday. Another Betfair big sponsored day.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Should be a cracker. Obviously, Altior, your favourite there at the moment, but Grenadine looks like he's going to go get even shorter. He was 5-1. He was 8-1. He's into 5-1 now. He could go even shorter than that. But it's been a great day. Obviously, you have to stand out, but great to see York Hill do it for the old boys again. And I think he's one for the good guys.
One for the good guys, quite right, like yourself, Barry. Great to have you back on. Thanks, Barry. We'll be seeing you very shortly indeed. Crunching all the numbers for us. Mattie Batchelor with Tingle Creek next Saturday. Is that the greatest jumping test in the land? Sand down those railway fences?
Yeah, the railway fences just catch a few horses out, but they're good. I have rode in the Tingle Creek before.
On?
Oh.
Here we go.
Here we go. The good old 2 mile King Kill.
Oh, is that right? Goodness gracious me.
I was upsides, Barry, on Sprinter Sacra, going to the start. That's as close as I got to him. That's as close as I got to him.
Fantastic. Batch, it's been great to have you back. This is a great day for you. Have you enjoyed being in studio again?
Absolutely loved it. Yeah, brilliant.
Are you going to go and put the Racing Post in the safe now? Is that?
Yes.
Is that an heirloom?
I'm going to go and see if I can go back to the station, give me a refund.
You used to go in, of course, on the track, and they just hand them to you in the weighing room, probably, would they?
Used to be, yeah.
Yeah, that was in the good old days.
But I don't go to the weighing room anymore.
Listen, you are still riding though, Batch, of course. When's the next pitch up going to come?
A couple of weeks, I think we got.
So when you get back to Plumpton, you're going to have to, because Plumpton's known as being the real racegoers track, isn't it? And
that's it. Yeah,
you've missed that, haven't you? Just before we sign off, a lot of people have said to me that some jockeys have been going through the motions without the crowd. Do you think it's going to up the sport again to that level we need to be back at? We've put on a great spectacle, haven't we? But some of the jockeys just going through some of the motions.
Not so much the motions. I think the little tracks, you wouldn't miss it as much. Like the last week at Cheltenham, it'd be great for Sandown next week. And today, you say the big meetings. Newbury, I mean, Hennessy Day is just... Eerie. That's going to be just like... I'm surprised it's in the old tumbleweed go across, but it'd be great to have him back, especially on the big days, definitely.
We'll have you back next month, Batch.
I'd love to come back, yeah.
Happy days, it's on. Ross Brierley, thank you again for coming down.
Anytime.
Back up to Tier 3, my man.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, great. I'll go and load up Netflix again. Which is
doing a load of work for My Racing as well, though, aren't you, Ross?
Yeah. We've got a new show on My Racing.
Happy days.
Natalie Green, chatting nonsense from home.
Brierley off the bridle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to.
If you haven't seen that, do check it out.
Trying to work out whether I can write 2 to 3 minutes worth of jokes about horse racing every week. I thought it'd be easy after last week's shenanigans, but nothing's happened this week.
Just write about my career.
That's it. We can do a special if you like. Yeah.
The week before Cheltenham will be the tricky one. There are a couple of lulls, but listen, we've had Cheltenham, we've had Ascot, we've had Haydock, we've just had it at Newbury and Newcastle today. Fantastic. We've had you all the way as well. We'll be back. We'll be back for the Tingle Creek next Saturday. See you then.